afternoon and welcome here to the Paritutu Bowling Club, where we're just getting the final of the Taranaki 117th Taranaki Open Fours underway, and that's the final between the Whangarei combination, the Trevor Reader, Dusty Reader skip side, up against the West End side, Craig DeFaria. Earlier in the semi-final, we saw Craig DeFaria defeat Mark Noble of Takaro by 22 shots to 20, and we saw Trevor Reader defeat the side from Harapark Tower by 23 shots to 16. With me for a short period of time, I'm fortunate I've got what I would call the voice of sport of Taranaki, Phil Quinney with me. Good afternoon, Phil. Welcome. Great to have you here.
Kevy, good afternoon to you, mate. That short reference is normally another reference when you're talking to me, so I'm pleased you clarified that it was time and not height. Thanks for that. Nice way to start.
Yeah, it is. We're friendly, mate, friendly.
Great to see you, mate.
Yeah, great to be here. Always good to come back, Phil.
Yes.
And after we just finished course at Burnside, and always great to come back to Taranaki to do a bit of the Taranaki Open. Of course, we've got the Somerset Nationals, touchwood,
yes.
Mixed pairs and fours here in February. So, yeah, well, you'll see here now with the live streaming that we're doing, bowls has come a long way.
Well, it certainly has, Kevy, no doubt about that. And this tournament's come a long way, 117th consecutive year. Even world wars haven't been able to stop this thing, and not even the pandemic.
No, they have not.
Thank goodness Jacinda didn't make it red zone at lunchtime today.
Lunchtime today, well.
We might have had a fairly quiet afternoon.
Funnily enough, the pandemic thing's not funny at all, but when last year when we had the national, she's a great opening, yes, from young Jordan Lynn. My goodness,
top young player.
That's a fantastic start to ride on, locked on the jack. But when we had the national fours last year, the Somerset fours in Central Otago, midway through the event, we went from one to the other, and all of a sudden the club room was split in two. We had people looking over the fence, and but
yes,
we got through. So
it's a worry, but well, at least we're certainly going to get the Open Fours completed here. Well, we hope today, because this is a very late start, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and obviously unless there's a one-sided final, it might be a fairly lengthy afternoon on the green here, but the weather's fantastic, and it's been a gorgeous week.
It's been outstanding, Phil. The weather, you couldn't have had better conditions, and really the great thing that's come back to me is being down here yesterday and talking to the Gary Lawson side, Andrew Curtin, all of the visitors complimenting, and Morris Symes being quite open about it, that Taranaki producers, they've got the best greens in New Zealand.
Yeah, well, that's nice to hear that, and of course it's a tournament that always finds favour with all of those that come here. That's why it's so successful. Nearly 160 teams again in the conditions that we're having to cope with COVID. Just an outstanding effort from the organising committee to pull this thing together, and a testament to just how much fun the event is, how much fun the week is. It stretches from those ultra serious players to those that want to be here for the camaraderie and to have a lovely week away playing bowls, and it's certainly a great mixture, and long may that continue, Kevy.
Well, Andrew Curtin made the comment yesterday, of course Andrew's played for New Zealand for a number of years, retired and all sorts of things, but back now playing a wee bit, and his comments were that this is the first time he'd been to Taranaki after playing a number of years for New Zealand and travelled around the globe playing for New Zealand, and that this to him was the best tournament that he'd been to, and the greens are outstanding, and the greenkeepers right around Taranaki have done an absolutely outstanding job, and as I say, Morris Symes made the comment that these are the best greens in New Zealand, and they certainly are. Good opportunity here. George Lydiard trying to get to the jack, to the two Jordan Lynn bowls. He's close here. What a bowl.
What a bowl. Beautiful, and that's the quality of the bowls we've seen, obviously, right throughout the week, and some big names here, of course, legends like Peter Bellis, Gary Lawson, as you mentioned, star-studded team, fell over at almost the penultimate hurdle. Craig DeFaria, of course, who won a couple of years ago, 2019, the local hopeful here, and guys like Danny Delaney, just tremendous players here throughout the tournament and played great bowls. It's a tough tournament to win.
Oh, it certainly is, I can assure you.
It wasn't great to see Morris Symes back.
Yeah, good to see him.
3 years since
and look, here we go again. The jack flip turns over, and that's more than likely the shot from Dave Wilson. the
Very
number
close.
2 for Craig DeFaria.
Having a good look at it, and yeah, it might be a measure there. It's
Yeah, the
very,
front
very
bowl could well be. I don't think the other great thing about the event, about trying to win this event, Phil, was that I've always said to top players, you come to somewhere like Taranaki, you can come up against a team of players who you don't really know.
No, that's right.
But, like, for example, this Northland team, they've got collectively just under 50 Northland titles under their belt. So, quality team. They may not have been, the floodlights have been on them, but they're certainly, a really, really good side. And I think the other good thing now with bowls, with the coverage that we're able to bring, is it's bringing, it's just bringing the sport into a different audience arena, isn't it?
Yeah, and what you're doing here with the live streaming also is a huge boost to that, and we're still covering the event on News Talk ZB on the radio with Ali reports of the final.
Look at this bowl here. Beautiful. Look at this. What a start. What a start there from Steve Walker. My goodness, that's a pretty good start to this first head.
Well, we've just seen 4 or 5
head.
absolute quality bowls from either side here, and you were just saying the quality of Rita's team, and Craig DeFaria also. Numerous centre titles here in Taranaki from the West End Club, and obviously he's a team that's got great quality, experience and youth throughout it. Not sure how many titles he's won. Grant Hassel, the tournament director, would certainly be able to give us that off the top of his head straight away.
He's still able to give me my bowls pedigree every time. But you've got to remember that Craig DeFaria won his first Taranaki way back in 1987, playing with John Lambert. And then, of course, 2019, 2020, he's got an amazing record, has Craig DeFaria, and of course, really comes from the late Bruce Johns, comes from pretty good pedigree. But it's good to see the young players that I've noticed in this, like Jordan Lynn we know about, he's an outstanding player. But players like young Hamish Carper that we saw playing, there's a number of very, very good players that are out there now, and the game's changing, but the compliment though has to be given, Phil, to the greenkeepers around Taranaki, because they've done an absolute wonderful job.
Yeah, Craig just coming up a bit short there with his opening bowl of the second end. Reader, as you can see, leading 1-0, and DeFaria trying to kill that first end. So Craig's not shy of the drive, no doubt about that, and certainly does tend to extend his matches out for a bit of time. Because of that, Craig unsuccessful in killing that first end when he was down on the head, but managed to take a couple of bowls out. And Reader left with a one-shot ball. So very, very close head here, as you can see. Reader holding shot maybe 2 as they get prepared for the skips bowls here. And Trevor, the skip himself, about to deliver here. Paritutu Bowling Club in gorgeous conditions. Not a bad crowd in as well, watching around the embankments here as Reader delivers this bowl on the back end. Might just get caught up in this front bowl here. If he can slip underneath it, he can. But getting caught up on that second front bowl. So just both skips coming up a bit short here, Kev, with their opening bowls on this end. Yeah,
they have, and it's one of those greens that if you take the green, you'll get rewarded, and it's starting to sweat a wee bit this afternoon. I think you might see, as the afternoon progresses, you can see some marking on the green. It might get a wee bit of change of pace, but you're still going to have, very, very tight heads. Now just looking to see whether that second shot is in or not. We knew there was definitely the one. And the other thing which is amazing about this event as well, Phil, is that all the events nationally have changed their different playing formats and all sorts of things, but the Taranaki Open has just kept that 25 ends, never changed.
No, that's right.
And
the organising committee review every year. They go through a thorough review with all of those that take part, and 2 shots there awarded on that end to Reader, so out to a 3-0 lead. But they make sure that they're on top of things, and if the format does not suit the players, and then they'll look at changing it. But without question, it's still very, very popular in terms of the 25-end game. Sorry, Defaria picking up 2 shots there to take the lead 2-1 as they start the third end. So there's not many 25-end fours tournaments left in the country, if any at all.
None.
Kevin, this is
I stand to be corrected. There's possibly in Gisborne they play what's called an event there, the Burton Cup, and that was always a traditional 25-end event. Now whether that still is, I don't know. To be fair.
Yeah, so this is the only certainly annual event that's still the traditional format, the 25 ends, 2 rounds per day. 8 qualifying games, 6 out of 8 wins to qualify, and then post-section from Friday through to Sunday. It used to be a Monday finish a few years ago.
Yeah,
the numbers were so strong, so a Monday morning finish. Obviously the Sunday afternoon suits most people for all manner of reasons, but certainly not the least of which they're in the groove, having played Sunday morning and not having to have a break Sunday night and come back fresh on Monday.
Like that, the final that we played, the underwater final that we played in whatever year, 84 I think it was, then we were fortunate enough to get to the final and tied that final 25 all. Yeah. And then that was the Monday afternoon, so we'd gone for the whole week, a whole week of 2 games a day, and being a lot younger then, it wasn't, we certainly weren't in bed by 7:30.
Yeah, there's been some late nights at this place, I can tell you.
Yeah, it certainly has.
Years. It takes a while to get some of these matches up and running as well. I remember a final I commentated on the radio when we used to do the local radio commentary many years ago down at the old RSA club in Fitzroy, right down on what's now the Tasman Social Club, a fantastic bowling facility. But we did the final there. Brian Baldwin of Paritutu against the late great Buff Fleming of West End.
Yes.
They killed the first end 5 times.
5 times.
And I had to say to the studio, don't make any plans for lunch, guys. We started at 9 o'clock. We hadn't completed the first end at 10. And I think we were there till about this time in the afternoon when we finished. So
yeah, there's been some long ones.
Yeah, certainly has.
George Lydian, he wins the prize. He's got the best hat, that's for sure. It's a ripper. And great to see Grant Nisbet here, of course, playing.
Yeah.
I watched Nisbo's demise out on the back green here yesterday afternoon when he went out on the piers. But Grant's a pretty regular attender here, and he certainly enjoys it. As does John Macbeth, now the president of the Raumati South Bowling Club.
Is he?
Yeah, Kapiti Coast, doing a wonderful job. Doing a fantastic job.
How many votes did he get for that? A very small club. The Meerkats president. We're just going to get Quinny on board. If we can get Keith Quinn to play bowls and me.
Yeah, well, there it is.
There's the team.
Yeah, no, he's the boss down there at Raumati. Yes.
God bless him.
Yeah.
No, great to see Nisbo here, and I tell you what, he's got a bit of talent too. Every bowl I've seen him deliver this year has been a pretty good one. I've only seen him bowl 2, but they've both been good. But
he loves it.
Nisbo's got a lot of mates here in the sporting fraternity, and particularly the racing community as well.
He certainly has.
Great mates with Johnny Wheeler, of course, one of the top trainers in the country. So we're talking hard about Nisbo making a permanent move here. I'm in the real estate business, as you know, Kevy, so I'm always looking for an opportunity.
Well, there you go. He could move up here, couldn't he? Get out of that.
Have I got a deal for him?
Yeah. There you go, Nisbo. I know he's back in Wellington, so...
great to see him. And he's coming back for the Nationals too. So
yes, he is coming back to the Nationals, and because the last time down in Dunedin, they teamed Macbeth and Nisbo played together with Simon Poppleton and Peter Shaw's brother. They lined up. So Paul Whiteman, who had a chat to me at the lunch break, was pretty disappointed with how he went in that semi-final. He struggled a bit, but he played a couple of big bowls at the back end of the game when required. But this West End side felt a very experienced side, aren't they? Very experienced local side.
They certainly are, no doubt about that. And of course Jordan Lynn, one of the up-and-coming young players in Taranaki bowls as well, but has had great success early in his career. But Craig Defaria, or Craig Johns, as a lot of people would know him years ago, he's changed his name to his original family name, back to Defaria now. But a very strong bowling family. But Craig had success here, of course, in 2019, the last local winner. So he knows what it's all about. And as you mentioned, he had success way back earlier than that too. as a part of other sides that have won here.
Well, he played with John Lambert, of course, great, and of course his father, Bruce, would have been in that side. Whiteman trying to get to that shot bowl, turns it over, and looking very carefully at it is Dusty Reader, the Northland skip. 2-1 after the two ends of this 25-end encounter. Great crowd in here yesterday, Phil. A lot of that, I think, was Gary Lawson attracts a crowd wherever he goes.
Exactly, yes.
And had a great game against Noble, but just really could the latter stages of the match just couldn't foot it with the men who were two-player. But great to see Gary Lawson back here playing. Of course, I'm sure will be part of that New Zealand side. Everything goes according to plan for the Commonwealth Games in August in Birmingham.
Yeah, great to see Gary, and he's been quite some years since he's played in the Open, but he loves coming here. He's had success here in the past as well, and he's put out some big teams this year. Of course, he was pre-tournament favourite. It took a very good side in the Takaro side, Mark Noble's team, to put him out. He led for most of that match yesterday, didn't he?
He did. He had
those last 5 or 6 ends.
16-5, 16-6 up, so had a tidy start. But the great thing about this 25-end scenario, Phil, is that, look, you're never home. Here's another good bowl coming in here from Reader. Just doesn't quite get the back of the bowl.
Just carrying a little bit too much weight, or just off that, little bit too much green at that weight. So Defaria now with a chance to nail another one up here with a 2-1 lead. Reader won a single on the first end. Defaria back with a 2 on the previous end, and now looking to extend that.
Looks to be on that wide side. It does draw its way back towards the centre line. Only a metre over the head.
I'll give you an easier shot
just
than
looking
that.
out the window, there's a wee bit of breeze coming up off the sea, but nothing
Get
to
2 rolls out of that bowl.
concern yourself about. It's
well, Paritutu does tend to get that. The good old Paritutu doctor comes in normally about this time in the afternoon, normally through the gap. It's coming from the other direction today, but normally through that gap, which can cause an issue or two. And it certainly had 1 or 2 windy afternoons here the last couple of days, but conditions pretty settled today. We're watching Reader again on the backhand, on the forehand rather, trying to get to the head here. He might again be carrying a little bit too much green for the weight. Yeah,
he is. But the good thing is about the green in that, Phil, is that all the bowls are coming back to the centre line all the time. So that means, there is a chance of scoring. And there's our marker, Tina Atkinson. Write that name down. A player of the future, and more than likely, I would hazard a guess, one of the youngest umpires in New Zealand.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing a fine job too. So it will be a single scored on that end to...
My apologies, Briar
Atkinson. Tina's a mum.
Tina's the mum.
Equally good looking, just slightly more experienced.
Yes. And I was talking to John Murder yesterday afternoon down here, and they've got, John's doing quite a bit of coaching now, which is great to see. And Briar, of his opinion's got certainly one of those players who's got a lot of ability and has shown it at national events, and she's a name that you're going to hear a lot of. Continues playing. I'm sure you'll hear a lot of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Some great young talent in both men's and women's bowls in the province at the moment, Kevin. A lot of good young players, the likes of Aidan Zitterstein, who's again got the nod for the Cook
Commonwealth
Islands.
Games.
At the Commonwealth Games for the Cook Islands after winning a medal there last time round. So looking forward to seeing how Aidan will go again in Commonwealth Games in the Cook Island colours.
Well, Aidan was talking to me a couple of days ago, and it's possible that he might team up with another ex-New Zealand player, in fact, who Peter Thorne and myself played with for a number of years, young fella called Jason Lindsay, who's now living up in the islands, and he's also in that side, in that Commonwealth Games side. And Aidan was saying to me that the two, they may well be playing the pairs together in the Commonwealth Games. But I think the other thing which is good, Phil, is, and again, talking to John Murder and Grant Hassel about it, some of our smaller Taranaki coastal clubs, the likes of Okaro, Rahutu, they've got a number of business house bowls. They've got some of these younger players now, and young Hamish Karpi is certainly evidence of that. He's a player as well, with another player with a very big future. So, yeah, it's great to see.
Certainly is. Stands the game in good stead, and coming up with, of course, Bowls New Zealand and a number of bowling clubs and union centres around the country coming up with all sorts of initiatives to, I guess, shorten the time that's available for young guys to come and play, guys and girls, and it certainly seems to be working. Defaria with a 3-1 lead, 3 ends gone, so as we said, a bit of a later start than we would normally have here. It's going to start with 3 o'clock, so lengthy afternoon, but Defaria away to a good start here with this 3-1 lead. But under a bit of pressure on this end by the look of this bowl coming in from the Northland side. Just slipped through the gap.
Fallen off. So Craig Defaria having a look.
Keep it going out there. Keep it going.
And
Early days.
Anderson, of course, from Tower and South Taranaki, put out by the Tawa Club. Tawa and Tower, that was difficult on the radio, I must say, over the last few days, but not to get them confused, but yeah, Anderson was almost our last hope, and then, of course, Craig Defaria coming through for the local fans. So Taranaki versus Northland. It worked out okay in rugby this year. It may not do so in bowls. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll wait and see, but yeah, it certainly did on the in the 15-man code, as this bowl of George Lydiard's going to go by to the back of the rink. Won't be too concerned about that with Dusty Reader.
So might just be holding one, hard to tell whether that's the Northland shot bowl right behind the jack or the wing bowl at about 4 o'clock that, rather as we look at it now, about 10 o'clock, that Defaria is holding through Jordan Lynn's lead bowls. But again, the local side trying to draw to the head, just coming up a metre short.
Very impressive player is Jordan Lynn, and in this 25-in game, if your lead can do the job for you off the front, it certainly it certainly helps.
Makes a massive difference.
Oh, absolutely does. Paul Whiteman, who's actually a Temangawai on the backhand in this composite Northland side. So they've all got 2 copper shirts on, you notice, don't you, Phil?
Oh, I didn't think it'd take you too long to bring that in, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, Johnny Nee was standing behind us, another good 2 copper man.
We'll bring Johnny in just a minute. I'm going to shoot off and get to the radio. But, well, yes, 2 copper. There's plenty of support for them, but I've got to remind you, Kevin, Inglewood won the championship.
Yes, they did, and well deserved too. It's good to see.
I'm going to tell you, long time Inglewood supporter, especially when they win.
Oh, and that was good to see.
Good side, quality side this year. Quality.
Just tips the bowl over, and that makes it harder now for the Trevor Reader side to get into the jack. Just push that shot bowl over onto the back of the jack.
That bowl right behind at 6 o'clock there, the Northland bowl, might be a target for them. Get that leaning movement, and the jack's that's certainly going to come into play.
Well, it's important to get if they want to attack it, need to get a bowl behind the head. They've got whether they can play down under that chute, will read it to get some movement of the jack. But we're looking forward, of course, to being back here. We were very surprised last year, to be fair, for the first time with the Nationals, the mixed pairs were held down in Central Otago, and we had a massive entry, to be fair, in the mixed pairs, and it took the event out to all of the country, little one green country clubs all around Central Otago. Right. And it was absolutely fantastic to go out to Patiora, all these places, and and really get well looked after. And let's hope that we can have an entry that might in fact help the Whangarei side to get up towards the jack now on that hand. And I hope we're able to go to the likes of, you know, the Leppertons and Rahutu around the coast, whatever, because we know that you'll certainly get well looked after.
Absolutely, no doubt about that. Hospitality superb, and all of our small country clubs around the mountain here. So Defaria with a couple of shots on the head here.
I see Tina indicate that there was definitely two, and this is going to go
around the back.
A bit surprised he's
Too far around the back.
Yeah, a bit surprised he's playing that shot, to be fair.
It's going to hold up,
Phil?
though, just.
Holds up to the ditch. It does. Sits just under the number.
So a bit of insurance back there if required, and that might be plan A or maybe plan B. But Defaria now holding two. See if he can put another one up here to make it a little bit more difficult. 3-1 the lead, as you can see, in the fourth end here at Paritutu. Defaria attempted to kill the first end, wasn't successful. That's where Rita picked up that first shot. It's Defaria again on the forehand. Drawing in towards the head, might be just underneath the kitty, just slides under, but could still be in the count. It will
Falls
be.
out.
That'll be, could be three.
It's in the count. I'm picking.
Yes, three. Briar Atkinson is indicating 3 shots. So Rita now, pressure on the skip early on here in the final. 3-1 down and 3 down on the head.
There, changing his hand as I thought might be the option, the best option I thought with his first bowl. Playing with needed weight to get down that narrow line to get to the jack.
He's too narrow. He's
too narrow, well away.
Well under. So 3 shots here for Craig Defaria. Doubles the score out to 6-1. 4 ends gone. So a great start for the local West End club here, Kevy. And Trevor Reeder, after opening up with that single, has suffered 3 lost ends in a row. A 2, a single, and now a 3, and 6-1 to Craig Defaria of West End, as the final starts to gather a little bit of pace here at the Paritutu Bowling Club.
So as Phil said, 4 ends gone, 6-1. Great start for the local side.
Kevin, I'm going to have to leave you. Go and get a couple of radio reports
you
done,
go
mate.
and get some stuff.
I'll call back and just check on you a little bit later on. Making sure
It'd be great to see you, Phil. You've got to go and look after NZME. You've got to make sure.
Exactly. You talk ZB. It's all go. I'll make sure that you're being looked after a little bit later on. Johnny Neal's going to come in. He'll have some stories to tell.
Oh, yes. Well, yeah.
Some of them are true.
We go back a long way.
Good on you, mate. Okay.
Thank you, Phil.
Catch you a bit later.
And that's Phil Quinney, the sportman here in Taranaki. And hopefully Phil will be back later on this afternoon. And shortly, Johnny Niwa, the Aotearoa bowlsman here in Taranaki, will be joining us. And my apologies, Briar. I've got it written down now in big, bold letters in front of me. So, right. So a great start for the West End side here in this final. Going out to a 6-1 lead. And another good bowl from Jordan Lynn. He's giving them a great start off the front. Look at that, 2 bowls sitting right alongside the jack, putting the pressure on early. Now, there's a man just standing up there by the brick wall. You can see Brian Bennett, who former Taranaki Open winner, one of the great snooker billiard players in New Zealand, Secretary of Bowls Taranaki for a number of years. And congratulations to Brian and his wife, who today celebrate their 62 years of their marriage. And I've seen the photo, Brian. It's 62 years today that Brian Bennett celebrating. The Bennett family, as you see this bowler, Dave Wilson, going past the head, going down towards the ditch, and will do so. And George, you heard there from Trevor Dusty Reader, just draw up to it. So here he is with that fedora hat on, trying to draw to those 2 bowls, both sitting jack level, the Jordan Lynn bowls. This looks to be on a fairly good line, this bowl. Just isn't going to hold up long enough to the jack. Looks close, gets the jack, sits alongside it, makes shot of it. Well played by George Lydiard. And Briar indicates that it is 1 to the North Auckland side. Because Craig Johns winning this event in 1987, way back in 87 with playing with the late, great John Lambert. Trying to draw to the head is Dave Wilson, just going to go by. So the second bowl here from Lydiard needs to match, get to the inside of the, what would be the second shot. So there's the instruction to George Lydiard on the backhand. There is Brian Bennett standing there, one of the gentlemen of bowls. Just question the weight, whether it's going to get inside that line on the weight. No, it's not, but it's another bowl close on the head. You won't be too concerned about that. Well, Trevor Reader. So Steve Walker now, the number 3 for Craig DeFaria. On his backhand. Of course, the side won the event a couple of years back. He's on a good line here, is Walker getting to the jack. He's going to get the jack, push it through the hole. Well played. Taking the jack right down to the 2 metre mark. That'd be laying another 2 shots with DeFaria. And the West End side certainly playing with some confidence in the early stages of this match. So Paul Whiteman standing on the mat, observing. It's the best shot to play here. On his forehand is Whiteman. No, I heard him say that, too weak, and yeah, it is. And it was more the line of the bowl rather than the.
Oh, we got 2, mate.
2's the call from Craig Johns, Craig DeFaria. And earlier today we saw Craig DeFaria defeat Mark Noble in one semi-final, and Trevor Reader defeat the Hara, the Park combination, the Mark Anderson skip side. Defeat that, win that by 23 shots to 16. And this bowl of Steve Walker's, that's going to be short of the jack. So Whiteman needs to just to adjust his line, put another metre of weight on, so the bowl will hold up and draw down on that centre line. So here is Paul Whiteman on this end 5 of 25. And it's just got enough on it to get to the jack. It's just got enough on it to get to the jack. Yes, it has. Gets to the jack cleanly and moves the jack right back towards the ditch, just centimetres, in fact. Sitting under the number 2 on the ditch, just below the ditch. Our camera may not be able to get over the top of that. There you can see it from that length. And one shot to the Trevor Reader side, the Northland based side. This came through the port, did Whiteman, winner of 7 Northland titles. And DeFaria now on the mat, on the backhand. He's certainly got weight, and we'll go by trying to actually get to the shot bowl. He's got a few hanging around on that deep on the green. There's another 2 bowls there, so Trevor Reader, Dusty Reader. Important thing is just to score. He'll be trying to get another bowl on the head. And this looks to be on the quick side as well, Mike. And we'll go into the ditch. And you'd have heard there Steve Walker saying, don't mind that weight, just got to bring that line in fractionally.
If I just back it off, I got a chance there.
That's the way, Craig. Get on and play the shot. It's the shot you want to play on your back end. Just that same weight, just bringing that line in slightly to get to that shot bowl. It's on a tighter line. More than likely get tangled up in the front. In fact, it's going to ricochet around the place. Won't change though.
Drawing, mate.
So here's a chance for Reader to score another. Go to a 6-2 trail. He's on a different line with this bowl. This weight looks different to what his first was. He's going to hold up enough just past his own bowl. He's going to sit up under the number. No, it doesn't. Just rolls into the ditch. That's a one to the Northland side. Welcome to John Niwa, who's now joined me this afternoon. He'll be here with us for a while. Phil Quinney coming back later on. Got radio commitments. So welcome, John. Good to have you with us. And
Kia ora, Kevin. Yeah, it's good to be here. What a great day and what a good turnout.
yeah, well, it's you know, we all know that this tournament to a number of people holds a very special special part of one's life, or the bowls calendar, and it's good to see yet again both local and visitor support. And really, John, it's well, you played in the event as well. That the greens to start off with, outstanding.
Yes, they have been on this one in particular. I played on this a couple of days ago, and yeah, really impressed with it. In fact, one of the better greens that we played on. But all the greens have been very good, Kevin.
Yeah, they are, and disappointment this afternoon, John. Of course, the Aotearoa Bowls have had to have been a casualty. Congratulations, Brian Bennett, on 62 years of marriage today. Well done, Mr. Bennett. Just walks past me.
Well done there, Mr. Bennett.
And so the a COVID casualty, Johnny?
Yes, it is, unfortunately, but that's the reality of what's happening in New Zealand. You just don't know what's going to happen in terms of the COVID, and so as a result of that, I think we're all going red tonight. That's to be confirmed, but the Aotearoa Bowls Board, yes, folks, it has been cancelled.
So does that mean, John, it's off for this year, or it's going to be played at a later date? Or
well, I would say it'd be off for this year. Because of the other commitments of other tournaments and whatnot, and depends on what happens there, of course. So yes, definitely off. But yeah, I suppose it's a good thing for those from Taranaki. We were taking 17 teams over. We're going to get our accommodation refund back, because that was a bit iffy. We only paid it a week or so ago.
That's good, isn't it?
But we're getting that back, and our entry fee, so that's good. Saving grace for us.
Well, I suppose as much as we don't like these things to happen, sometimes for the wider community, these decisions have to be made, don't they?
Oh, they definitely do. Yes, it's for the safety of everybody.
It's interesting this end, John. The 16, the length has certainly been changed, but it doesn't affect young Jordan Lynn, does it? Have a look at this again, right on, right on top. He's going very well.
Yes, that ball just fell out from being the shot, probably. Actually. I'm used to sort of watching it on the green, and to be in front of a TV like this, where you get probably a better shot of it. I suppose I need to focus there.
Well, it's just that sometimes what can happen, John, is the angle. You can't quite get the angle right to the jack, but to the head. But Briar's out there with the lollipops,
yes,
and she'll keep us informed. But yeah, you're right. The great thing there, another good bowl coming in here from Dave Wilson, just going to slip through. Yeah, the great thing now about the technology that we've got, in the past there was a bit of a gap in between live and what you're on the green and going to air, but now it's as it happens, which is great.
It certainly is, and for those ones who are watching it live stream, I mean, that's new technology, isn't it? And just talking about Briar there, it's great to see her. And we both of us did the umpires course maybe a couple of years ago now.
Oh, right.
So yeah, that was interesting.
So Briar would be one of the youngest umpires going around, wouldn't she?
Yes, she would be, definitely here in Taranaki.
Yeah, and a very promising player as well.
Yes, and I'm probably one of the older umpires.
Well played, mate.
Well, I suppose it's fair to say, John, you and I can remember the decades of the past, but sadly, a number of our mates aren't with us to do so now, isn't it? So it's just great to be able to be able to be here.
Definitely an experience, this tournament, and the guys you meet, the camaraderie. You know, as we heard in prize giving just before this game started, for the pairs, etc., that the camaraderie of everyone was so much part of the game.
Well, it is, and you know, like I haven't played in the Taranaki Open for many, many years, but every time I come back, you always come across players that you played against or played with, or so it's always just, like you started to catch up with Johnny Murder.
Right,
and
yes.
you know, that was fantastic, you know, to catch up with a guy of, well, a legend here at Paritutu, and did so much for, well, as a bowler himself, then as part of the New Zealand coaching staff, and great to see John still involved and helping and coaching now with a number of the younger players as we watch this bowl. Paul Whiteman's trying to get to the shot bowl. He's trying hard, this bowler Whiteman's. If it falls in, it's a chance. Sits on the outside of the bowl, all but getting the shot there to Paul Whiteman. It is the shot.
Movement's good.
No, it's not. It's Craig DeFaria who's got the one. Sorry, Trevor. The Whangarei lollipop is the red one. And under the head here is the number 3 for Steve Walker for the West End. So I hope all those 17 teams, John, that were going away to the Aotearoa Bowls can now put an entry into the national fours here
Well, I suppose that'd be in the same situation, would it be? I'm sure the committee would be considering that, as to whether, you know, there'd be complications there or not.
I'm
not too sure.
I think, obviously I haven't spoken to Mark Cameron because it only happened a wee while ago.
Yes, that's right.
But I think we've got a couple of weeks really of, we're not until the last week in February, so we've got a couple of weeks to see how things pan out.
Yeah.
And then some decisions can then be made one way or the other. Mind you, last year at the National Fours and Mixed Pairs in Central Otago, we played under a COVID change partway through the tournament.
Right, yes.
The sport has done it before. We had a COVID change. So, read it, just goes by. It just seems, John, early on in this match that the West End side just seemed to have better control of the head, the weight, so to speak, than because it's interesting, the Whangarei side in this particular head, they certainly shortened up the head, didn't they? They very short head, but they just seem to don't have the same consistency as what the Craig DeFario side has got.
No, that's true, and no doubt. I mean, both teams have had to work hell of a hard to get here through the section play, and to get to this level and even be in the top 4, the top 8, the top 16 is a tremendous effort. Now, I just
good effort here from Reed. It not quite going to make it.
Not quite. Kevin, you won this tournament a number of years ago. How long ago was that?
1984, John.
And who were you playing for then?
I was playing with Rowan Brassey, Peter Thorne, Barry Greer and myself. And to be fair, Johnny, we didn't really win it. We tied it. And if you have a look in the Taranaki Open book,
yes,
I think it's the only time you'll see where the tournament's been tied. John's looking to sit the Freya looking. He doesn't want the back of the jack.
Just missed
it was 25 all off 25 ends, and the green was completely underwater. And we played Barry Drabble in that final, and we elected to share the event, to share the winnings.
Right.
And so I suppose I can say I played in the final, and
Well, that's an achievement. So well done. Yeah.
yeah, it was a great it was a great thrill to to come back down with our Okahu Bay side, and sadly Okahu Bay club now no longer
that right?
operating.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, where Marley and I actually live in Auckland, we actually looked down over what was the old Okahu Bay green, and if you think about those great days with Okahu Bay, Danny O'Connor, Nick Unkovich, Doug Richards, Jolly, Peter Thorne, Rowan Brassey, they were all they were all there at this little club down at Okahu Bay, but no longer going. But yeah, that was a highlight to make the Taranaki Open final, and and those days we actually played the final on the Monday afternoon. It was
that's right. Used to. That's right. Yeah.
It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. But it's equal number, literally the same as qualifying. You did it all again in post-section play.
That's right. That was the. I remember the times when I had to go back to work on the Monday and couldn't get to the finals. But now with the changes, the availability and of course being retired too also helps.
It does help.
Bit more free.
So Jordan Lynn, he's putting on putting a top class performance on here. The youngster, Carter Coastal boy, and of course has won this event before with Craig Johns, but certainly, putting on a very, very good performance here today, as he did. I watched him play yesterday as well in post-section play, and as you know, John, if you can get that start from your lead. It doesn't matter whether it's 25 ends, 15 ends, whatever, but if you get that consistency with your lead, it certainly helps you throughout the game. That's for
definitely.
Sure.
Yes, it gives the other players a bit of confidence too.
Great line, mate.
Your second and third, and certainly puts the skip in a good position.
Yeah, it's interesting that West End, of course, won the mat back up with scoring that single on the 16. And straight away they felt more comfortable with that longer length head, and it's gone back to a term as a 3/4 length head, whereas that last head was a very, 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 very short head. And here's Lydiard, he's going to be outside the target, but still coming back towards the centre line. And even if not getting the shot, and I'm sure you'd agree, John, as long as you get bowls around the head,
yes.
you've got a chance of doing something.
Definitely. Actually, a bit disorientating for me looking at the screen and trying to work out everything. I mean, as a skip, you're out there on the green, and even when you're standing over it, sometimes trying to gauge who's got the shot, it's difficult. But here, but I'll become familiar with it as time goes on.
Yeah, it's the new technology now that we've got is is outstanding, and the production that we're able to bring you thanks to Tamara and Melissa, and of course the Bowls New Zealand. It's certainly a very professional, high quality coverage that we're able to put together.
No doubt, yeah, it is. Good to see.
And when we say live action, it is live action. It's not a delay. It's live action.
Live streaming.
Yeah, it is live streaming. So here is number 3-4. Craig DeFaria, Steve Walker on his backhand. Holding the shot is the Craig DeFaria side. Due again to the start from Jordan Lynn. But there is a chance here for the Dusty Reader side to come under that, reach the bowl, turn the bowl through the head. That's the shot that they're looking at playing to get down to reach to that shot bowl. You heard Trevor read it through the microphone. You can reach down there on the backhand, turn that bowl through the head. Whiteman gets the bowl away on the backhand. Needs to just come in now. If it gets in under this green bowl, this is close to getting some sort of result. Is it going to goes to the outside of the bowl?
Yeah, that's the line of your bowl.
Great
that
effort,
one, buddy.
all but got the ultimate result. Steve Walker now on the backhand. He's out on a wider line this time, John, isn't he?
Yes, he is. But as my third always says, Power Tamati, don't be short.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
Reach that kitty or be over.
And the other good thing about how this is laid out now is with the white lines that are there is to,
Yes,
encourage the sides just to stand outside those white lines.
Okay.
It does give you a good idea where the shot is as well,
Yes,
because you can really
definitely.
see where the bowls are. So here is Whiteman this time. So he's on that outside line, so therefore he won't get in under the head to get to where he wants to be, and sits low of the jack. Craig Defaria having another look at the head, and Breyer is not indicating. It might be. I'm sure it's still 1-2 the Craig Defaria side.
Yeah, they're playing 7 of 25 so far, so they're playing the 7th now, sorry. Yeah.
And that white chip now, how many greens got at white chip now, John?
We've got the one synthetic and one other, but the other is sort of burnt at the moment, and probably the committee have decided to redo it, basically.
So
Top it and re-grass it.
So you've got the green out in front of the clubhouse.
Yes, that's
The
synthetic.
The next one up,
Is grass green.
but the one right at the back now is no longer.
That's gone. That's been shut off and given back to the council.
So here's Defaria, doesn't want to touch the jack sideways.
Close.
He touched the jack sideways. Could have easily gone to where there's a bowl of George Lydiard sitting over there. So here on the backhand is George Lydiard. Another Councillor Bennett, I see, leaning over the wall there.
Ah, yes.
So here is Trevor Dusty Reader trying to get down to that shot bowl. Is going to be under the head, or just sit on the bowl of George Lydiard's, and still it would be the West End side, say, holding the one shot, and just seeing whether Breyer indicates anything. No. I'm saying it's one. So here is Craig Defaria. He might be outside that line where he needs to be, John. Yeah, he is.
Holding wide, so that blue bowl's a shot.
The blue ball in the middle, right on the line.
We've got 3 seconds.
So I just heard Steve Smith saying
Roll out of that.
you've got 2 seconds. So you can afford to endeavour to reach the bowl.
Yep.
Or even if he moved the kitty out to the side, they've got bowls there. The main thing for Trevor Reader or Dusty Reader is to make sure he's got weight, that he's up to the head.
Drop hard. Drop hard.
And needs some luck. Got the bowl, got the jack around the corner. That's still one to West End. It nestled in amongst. Wow, that could have been a different result there.
One to the green team.
So it's 8-2 now to Craig Defaria's side. That's the side of Jordan Lynn, Dave Wilson, Steve Walker and Craig Defaria, and of course multiple time winners of this event. And up against the Northland, the Whangarei side, Steve Smith, George Lydiard, Paul Whiteman and Trevor Dusty Reader. And at this stage, it's the locals, it's the West End side who has jumped out of the gates and got the good opening start in this 25-end final. Early today, we saw Reader defeat the Anderson combination from Tower Club and Hara. They won that semi-final, and Craig Defaria defeated Mark Noble. In the pairs, we saw the Johnsonville combination win their way through to the final. That being the Naki Nemia and Nian McGibbon of Johnsonville. They defeated Alan Rickard and Hugh Andrews of Bannockburn, and great to see one of the clubs from way down in Central Otago, up here playing in the Taranaki Open Fours, and we trust that they've enjoyed their trip up here to Taranaki. It's Bannockburn, a little club.
Yep.
Sean Scott, the greenkeeper there in Central Otago. And Jordan Lynn's putting on a masterclass here. He's short with his first, but his consistency over the two bowls is outstanding. As Steve Smith now is on a good line. This bowler, Steve Smith, as it comes down towards the centre line, and the jack just going to go by. You know, sometimes, as you know, John, you can go through games whereby
definitely.
You know,
He's gone through a couple of metres over the head.
You don't. You think you're going to sit on a bowl. You're not going to sit on a bowl. You think the bowl's something else is going to happen, and sometimes you can play games where you own the gaps.
Oh, definitely. Oh, that happens all right. Holes for bowls, as they say. I'm looking directly out onto the green, and I can gauge better by looking at the green and the distance away rather than on the TV here in front of us. But no doubt you've accustomed yourself to the distance on the screen here.
I've been looking at the screen for a few years now. Yeah. I've had a few years on it as you watch this bowl of George Lydiard, the Northland player, going to finish jack level. Needs to fall in, measure, still falling in or out. It's a measure between the Jordan Lynn bowl, which is sitting at 7 o'clock. So here is Dave Wilson. This is on a good line too. This bowler Wilson's that comes towards the jack. Yeah,
good bowl.
Yeah, great bowl. Sits just alongside the jack. There's Briar Atkinson indicating. So that was one. So it was the shot before the Northland side. George Lydiard had the shot. And how far is this going to come back? He gets a late break on his bowl, does Lydiard, and he's going to again. Is it going to get all the way to the jack? Yes, it will, and just sits lower the jack. That's the shot.
Yep.
Now, I hope that Briar out there, I hope she's got some sunscreen on. Standing out there in this sunshine, and a hat, correct, Mr. Bennett, I agree. Yeah, slip, slop, slap, and a hat. As we watch this bowl of Dave Wilson's just going to go by, played with that yard of weight, which was fine to try and reach that shot bowl. Important thing, though, is now, John, for the Northland team, that need to get a couple of bowls on the head, don't they?
That would certainly
it's
help
fine to have
in
the shot,
but you
can live very vulnerable, and all of a sudden things can change very quickly.
That's for sure. Yes.
So here is Paul Whiteman from Mangawai. Looks to have a good line out of the hand. Needs to get inside this West End bowl. Tipped it over. I think it would still be. It's still shot to the front bowl but unlucky there was Paul Whiteman. He was only really a feather away from getting a good result. So Steve Walker, he'll endeavour to reach that shot bowl or the jack. Gets a movement on the jack's fine, and that's exactly where he's heading. He's going to rest the shot bowl out, touch the jack. Perfectly played by the number 3 for Craig DeFaria. Really nice controlled weight. 3 shots now. And just what we were talking about, John, wasn't it?
Great bowl.
We said about the one bowl on the head situation. You've got to get a couple of bowls around the head. The shot means nothing when you can get into these predicaments very quickly, but a good response here from Whiteman trying to get to the jack. Is he going to get the jack? No, he's not. Just slides by. That's the weight he had to play, though, to hold that bowl up, to try and get to the jack. I think now for Rita, though, the danger of playing with those shots, you can be so close, but you can waste a lot of bowls trying to get the result.
Right.
And I just wonder now whether Rita
have a run,
let go at that. Okay. Even if it reduces because you can very easily just
I'd be looking at my third, Pep. You know Pep?
yeah. Oh yes, I know
And
Pep.
he,
Yeah.
and he'd say he knows I love having a run, and he'll say, "Draw, John, draw, John."
Yeah, I think the way how the scoreboard is at this point in
Yes,
time,
they
this
need
early
the points.
stage of the game, you they're only 6 to diff. You just don't want the ends to get away from you. So even if he doesn't get the ultimate result but gets reduction or a replay of the end, it's just so difficult to try and play those reaching through the head weight. The bowl can just cut away under the head so quickly, and it looks as though he's going to play that, continue on that, what I would call challenge in there. It's that in between, just about call it in between. Might cut one out if he sits on the back. No, he doesn't. And that's what we're talking about, John.
Exactly, it happens.
So at that weight, you're not going to move bowls around the head, and you're still in exactly the same predicament.
Yeah.
And of course now, Craig DeFaria can draw on his back end to match that bowl out on the side, and for that bowl actually to count. If he was to just get inside that bowl of George Lydiard's, which he's tracking towards to do, if he's got the weight, he hasn't quite got the weight. So I'd be playing with a lot more weight. Yeah, that's the call now.
Yeah, have a go.
I would prefer to send him play it with his first, but pretty good driver is Reader, but he's not going to persevere again to try and play that under the head shot to the jack, and again might get one this time. Nope.
No.
And
through the same hole, I reflected off that bowl at third shot.
Yeah, I just think, to be fair, John, you look at percentages, and the percentage shot to me there was reduction.
True.
And we've certainly been blessed this week, John, with outstanding weather for the Taranaki Open Fours, haven't we?
It's been brilliant. You know, there was an indication it might get a bit of rain, but it didn't eventuate on not on the greens that I played on anyway. But no, it's been really great.
There was some, I think it might have been Thursday morning, there was some early morning rain, but it had gone by the time play got underway.
Right.
And was it Friday, was it?
Yeah. And one thing that I was, I just heard the greenkeeper talking about this green here in terms of, because during the week we were sort of discussing as to what the temperature would be on the green and underneath the green. Well, Walshy here said that he took the temperature of the green 6 inches down, and it was 31 degrees.
Yeah, I heard that today
How about
at
that?
lunchtime.
Interesting.
And it is interesting. I haven't heard that before.
No,
about
no.
About doing that temperature check of the soil down below.
Yeah, I thought that was a great comment.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that before, and that's interesting. And you can, of course, it means that the greenkeepers are good at what they do. But
yes.
so obviously that soil temperature is important, isn't it? Because
in terms of the moisture content,
the moisture
and,
content
on top of the green, yes, definitely.
So Steve Smith persevering on that backhand. See Jordan Lynn going over to see Councillor Bennett. 2 coasters. Might get the back of the bowl here, Smith, and he does get the back of his own bowl and rolls it in for shot. A bit going by, but it's over the head. Holding shot now is the Northland combination. So Dave Wilson, the number 2. And of course, Craig DeFaria, John, you know, besides winning Taranaki Opens, very, very well performed player in the region, isn't he? He's always thereabouts, and
He certainly is very competitive.
whether it be singles, pairs, whatever the discipline, he's certainly right up there, isn't he, as being one of the leading competitive players.
Definitely is. And it's great to have a few of those players in the club too, you know, to help the young ones along. I mean, I was impressed when you mentioned who you played with when you were at Okahu Bay. You know, I mean, you take the lead from those young, older fellas and the experienced ones.
Yeah, well, it was interesting when we did. You know, I was a senior citizen in the team, and
Is that right?
and Brashy and Co, they were all younger than me, but I know we had a wonderful time together. We loved it. It was a great event, and it was those are the days at Kahu Bay, as I say, where it was a wee bit like Paritutu, which was stacked, you know, with Baldwins, Murters, MacArthurs, and at that same time, the little Oahu Bay club was of an equal ilk with the number, with the level of players that played out of Oahu Bay at that time.
I think I've played. Is it a 3-tiered green? Yeah, sort of one green up.
The one on the
there,
top, that's
2,
correct.
3.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, have played there.
So George Lydia trying to get under that bowl to make two of it. Just going to fall one bowl low. Holding the shot though is the Northland side.
Craig looks at it and goes back and
So
instructs his third.
and he's saying, give us weight. Couple of metres behind the head if you get onto the shot bowl or the jack, that's all healthy. And that's a good way of skipping, about not trying to dead draw. If you miss, you're going to be behind the head.
Yeah.
He's close to the, going to be unlucky, is he here? Got the bowl, got the jack, round the corner. There it is,
Kicked it
right
over
next
to
to the
bowl.
Jordan Lynn bowl and the bowl of Dave Wilson's. And the great bit of that bit of skipping, and I'm not having a go at the Whangarei side at all, but straight away the
Four
West End side
Yeah.
are aggressive in playing shots that give them opportunities. And now straight away from holding one, you got a big job in front of you.
Yeah. So Whangarei are 4 down now.
And you know, you get caught in these predicaments. You're going to get another one of the West End bowls, and you know, if you look at that head now, John, it's very, very difficult to play to.
It certainly is. You got blockers on the left, our left.
Yeah, you know, you've got that front line blocker, which is right on line to the jack, and you've got 3 bowls literally all in a straight line, and you've got nothing on the head, and you know, one can endeavour to try and draw their way out of it, but it's hard to do so. And again, you know, 11-2, you can't really get yourself in a situation where you've paid 9 ends and it's 15-2.
Yeah, true. And I see that bowl went back, sort of covering those back bowls of Whangarei's.
So, you know, you're trying to get down to that reduction area, and these are hard shots to play. Good attempt here from Whiteman, but he's just going to feather into the front bowl of, well, he got his own bowl, in fact, feathered into the bowl of his number 2, to George Lydiard bowl. So more than likely only the 2 down. It is the 2,
now, yes.
as Briar just indicated. But it's what the challenge, of course, is for the Whangarei side, John, is what have they got to play to?
Yeah, true. Actually, I like that Bro indicating the situation at the time now.
It's
not,
great.
Not waiting for the end. It's ongoing communication.
Yeah, it's good.
And it's really good. For the viewers, they'd appreciate that too.
So here is Craig DeFario on his backhand. And again, the head stacked up very well for the West End side. And if we go back to West End, they, you know, the Gary Lilly, of course, he went through a phase where they had a West End side that performed so well in Taranaki Opens over a number of years. And now
Yes.
Craig DeFaria is now really following that same ilk of, you know, consistency. And so here on the backhand is Dusty Reader. Needs to come back a long way to it under that centre line. Going to stay out on that centre line, go by. Of course, the difficulty for it, the Whangarei side, of course, as well. John, they can't actually see the jack to attack anyway. So Craig DeFaria, Councillor Bennett, he'll sit. And that's just made the job harder, really, to get that front bowl, John, isn't it? It's literally now only a draw target, and it's a wee bit about that game management that I would say sometimes you can leave a shot too late.
Yep.
And that was evident at the end before. And once that jack got moved, I really felt it had to be attacking, because this bowl's got to draw within centimetres. It's a great attempt here from Rita. This is a wonderful attempt. May not get the shot, but great attempt to get down to that shot bowl. I'd say that's two. Two it is.
Yes, to West End.
13-2 to the Craig DeFaria side.
Actually, viewers out there, we're sitting inside the Paritutu club rooms, so we've got a bit of shade and it's nice and cool in here, whereas outside on the green it's certainly quite warm. And
yeah, it is pretty warm out there, John. That temperature was certainly getting up earlier on, but and of course, you know, the green will change as well as that. So right now 24 degrees. Well, I reckon it'll be about 26 out there right now.
Yes. Yes, 20 past 4 now. Within an hour, you know, it could be changes to the green in terms of its quickness, and we'll see. And yeah, I'm picking that you will see some change. Good bowl here. Response from Steve Smith. Jordan Lynn now on this end 10 of 25. Another good bowl here from Lynn. This is, yeah, consistency like this. This is how you win major events. Yes, he's within a metre.
Yeah, and the good thing about that, John, he's in a metre consistently.
Yes.
And that's the, you know. So Steve Smith got that away with a big flourish of the arm. It's on a fairly good line. How's the weight though? I think it's going to come under the line. Needs to sit inside these bowls. Get a feather, not going to. Goes by it, and you know that's the issue, that when you miss that line and you skip away underneath the centre line, it doesn't give any position on the head. And what Jordan Lynn is doing is he's consistently getting his draw bowls back to the line, and thus setting the head up. Very good for Dave Wilson coming behind him. There's Wilson now, is drawing down towards the jack inside the Lynn bowls. It's going to get all the way. Yes, it will. And again, we've seen very quickly, John, although it's Northland who've got the shot, it's that other three bowls that are sitting in and around the head. That's the... So this the 117th Taranaki Open Fours, one of the events on the Bowls New Zealand calendar. 25 end fours, 158 teams started play last Monday morning, and then played 4 days, 2 games a day of section play, with 6 out of 8 to qualify, and then through to the knockout phase of post-section play, which got underway on Friday. Another good bowl coming in here from Wilson's going to be under the head, but it's going to more than likely thought it had a chance of sitting on the bowl. But a really good thing about what's happening here as well with the Craig DeFaria bowls, John, is that they're getting like a beach towel of collection of their consistency, their bowls around the head, and that makes such a big difference. Here's a good effort here though from George Lydian draws right in behind the jack.
Yeah, good ball. Good ball. Yes, well, it depends on how big your beach towel is, eh? That sort of probably
Yeah, well,
smaller the better. Eh?
Yeah, well, you know, the old days when we played on the grass greens and had them running like 19, 20 seconds, you needed a collection of beach towels.
Yeah,
to, So, indication to Steve Walker, play on the forehand, reach up here with weight through the head, one down on the head. Walker, the West End number 3. And he's playing with, he's close to getting the outside of that bowl clean,
got it.
and does. Didn't move the jack.
Beautiful shot.
That's right, you know, one, two, still one to that reader combination, but that's right. I admire the skipping of Craig DeFaria, John, whereby,
very good.
you know, if the shot's there to play, let's play it. Let's not wait till.
That's right. Take the opportunity while it's out.
Absolutely. You don't get them all, you're never going to get them all, but at least, you know, you give yourself a chance. As we watch this bowler, Paul Whiteman's now doing its best to get right down to the counted area, not going to do so, comes up short. Now, straight away, here's a chance for West End. Don't be surprised if they play under the head. Hello? Company conference going on, is there? Right, here comes Craig DeFaria.
Yes, they've got the skipper now to check things out.
Yeah, I
give
thought
direction.
this might be the shot. They see him playing out, change the hand. You've got bowls on the head, playing to that one bowl target, under the head after that good drive from Steve Walker. Walker will now try and reach what is the shot bowl, because they've actually got the next 3, have the, and he's
Pretty well on
close
target.
here. He's close here.
Beautiful,
That's
beautiful
catch.
bowling.
Great skipping, great bowls.
Yeah.
You know, he changed. There we go, 4 shots. And Craig DeFaria didn't muck around, called what he wanted to play, and duly obliging was Steve Walker. 2 magnificent bowls.
Yeah. Great bowling, Steve.
Out on that wider arc is the Paul Whiteman bowl, trying to come back, has great weight, had jack level weight, but and of course the difficulty there, John, as well, is that the first bowl of Paul Whiteman's, which is lower the jack, the draw, that's just about sitting flush on the draw line.
It is.
So of course what you get yourself in a position whereby you do put on that yard of weight, do get that fraction wider to try and get past the bowl. So at this stage we've got to compliment the West End side, certainly managing the game very, very well.
Agreed.
And I'll try to get confirmation from, here's another drawn shot from DeFaria. I'll just try and get confirmation from Grant Hassel, who's just sitting along from us here with the women's 4s about to get underway on Tuesday.
Yes.
And whether the COVID change makes the start, we're still online to start. So there you go. There's no change to that of the Taranaki.
The only change is that some locations have changed, so there is only one section in each club.
So there you hear it. Great. Well played by Reader. Draws the shot. He was 5 down, I think, then drew the shot. The note there from that I just got from Grant Hassel, that of the women's Taranaki Open women's 4s to get underway on Tuesday to be COVID compliant. So I'll just wait for this Craig DeFaria drive. He's going to endeavour to drive out the shot bowl, just drawn by Trevor Reader, went 5 down on the head and drew the shot. Here is Defaria on the mat, on the drive, trying to get to the bowl, and might get the wick, got the jack, whether it's gone. I think it's dead, is it? Just waiting for them to confer. Yes, it is. And so just from that COVID announcement that was made today, the Taranaki women's fours will still be underway, but they will be only using one green at the respective clubs. So all of the sections will be, obviously there'll be some changes, but it'll be one section per club. So is that with the COVID situation going to code red, it means how they can manage the numbers. So that means that some sections will change, but they'll no doubt the Bowls Taranaki will be notifying people about that. But still all full speed ahead with the Taranaki women's fours to get underway on Tuesday, and just that minor adjustment is that the sections will consist of one green per club. As you watch this bowl again of Jordan Lynn, just drawing behind the jack right on the centre line. He's putting on a class performance as the young West End player, Steve Smith, trying to follow that backhand line of Jordan Lynn. It's on a fairly good line, just question how far it's going to run by with weight, and it is going to go by past the 2 metre mark and goes by with a bit of weight. So we're playing the replay of Ian 10. And again, Jordan Lynn is going to be over the head, and he won't be too concerned about that as long as it stays up on the land, and it does. So he's got one on right on the jack, or just in behind the jack, and one over the head, and it's the sort of lead-in that you want. So here again is Steve Smith. Going to go by with that second bowl. Dave Wilson also been very, very consistent to date in this game.
Jack high.
Steve, George Lydiard trying to 2 down is the Whangarei side. Just question how far is this weight going to get Lydiard? Not going to had the line all the way to the jack, but good metre short. Leaves the door wide open for Dave Wilson and the Dave Wilson and the West End side to get bowls on the head and really put pressure on the back end of the Trevor Reader side. And there's another shot, a jack level draw shot. So they're pretty consistent to date, aren't they, John?
Certainly going very well.
I just really, I just question why the Northland side are playing that hand. Because they've got the chance of playing the same line as the West End side.
All right.
Which is a chance at getting
in their line, or just
and just reducing the numbers. And what it enables, of course, the West End side to do to control the head, which is exactly now what they're doing. And there, a back toucher, 4 down. So that shot that was there on that hand, John, has become that much harder. You certainly can't play any more bowls on that hand. 4 down, just making it very, very, very difficult. I've got the 2 back bowls has the Northland side, and I think now I'd be spending some bowls to try and get the jack or reduce the count.
Well, they're trying to get inside.
We're just going to have
fifth,
unaffected.
yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
It's West End's 5th ball there, but no, he's well wide of that.
Well, the other problem there for the Northland side, John, is where that green bowl is located, a metre short of the jack, is in a very, very tight line to where the jack is as well. If you look at it now, where that green bowl is, and the West End team can just draw away to their heart's content.
They're coming around it and coming in,
and will count.
Got to come up with probably a bit more.
So there's the call from Trevor Reader around that, and obviously trying to reduce the number now, so when they change over that he can attack the head. But of course, if Paul Whiteman is unsuccessful in doing that,
he's got to get some movement. He doesn't like it.
Doesn't like that. Didn't like that out of the hand, did he? Needs to sit on something going through, and not going to do so. So the Whangarei side have got 1, 2, 3 bowls, which are 2 metres over the head, and they've got 2 short bowls. Now, 13-2. I know there's a lot of ends left, but you...
getting harder for them to
absolutely. Absolutely it is. And to me, this is about sliding down there with weight, and if you don't get the jack, you really got a chance of dislodging some of those what are presently counting bowls.
Yeah.
And so I'll story in any sport, when you're going well, the old body language peps up, and Craig Jafari didn't like that out of the hand either, did he?
No. He's a bit wide, but he's over the head. Probably covering the Northland bowls. Yeah.
Well, it's the Bacchus bowls, so that's a button. So the question I'm going to raise here, John, is now all of a sudden Trevor Reader's going to endeavour to play that shot, which really should have been played beforehand.
Yep, agree.
On the backhand is Reader trying to reach down to the shot bowl, needs to get under the George Lydiard bowl, which is out in front of their head, not going to do so, might get a touch on it, won't make any difference. Still 4, and we could jump to a big number, and this could be a big lead very quickly, John.
I think so.
Well, we saw a 1, a 3 and a 2 over the last 4 ends, and once again now the Defaria side are controlling their head. Pressure's certainly on the Northland side. And it gets past here. This will count.
Ball. Yep, that'll count.
Now here's the target this is the target for Trevor Reader. He's got to play with weight. Yeah, there. Look at that.
We both agree. He's got to go. Look, what
5.
Was that? 5. Ooh.
5. He's got to be
She
playing.
just about ran out of the fingers. Right.
Go it. That's it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I just think, John, as you and I just said, you're leaving that shot a wee bit late, and now you hope it happens, but you certainly put a lot of pressure on your shoulders. On the backhand, on the drive is Reader. 5 down on the head, and still going to be 5 down. Misses everything. There's a big break. 18-2. 18-2 after 10 ends. 6, in fact, it was. 5, it was. It's the number I got up as we go to the tea break. And as we go to the break now, after 10 ends gone in this final of the 117th Taranaki Open Fours, it's the West End side, the Craig DeFaria skip side, who are certainly they're making no race of it at present over Trevor Reeder, leading by 18 shots to 2. And we'll be back after the afternoon tea break and bring you the latter stages of this final of the 117th Taranaki Open Fours in the Paritutu Bowling Club here in New Plymouth.
Bye-bye. Cup of tea.
favourite holders lead here. Yeah, okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah, go.
I don't want them to know what I'm trying to do. I think it's there. I'll just get one of you guys to check.
You just give this draw a shot. Buddy, you pick your hand. Oh.
He'll come back, but I don't know how far. Come on, keep coming, George.
Come back a mile.
Doesn't worry me. At the moment, I'm pretty confident in both, but
It's got to go close.
that's good then.
Play it here, George.
That's a shot.
To the final of the 117th Taranaki Open Fours, and it's the West End side of Jordan Lynn leading Dave Wilson at number 2, Steve Walker and Craig DeFaria up against the Northland side of Steve Smith, George Lydiard, Paul Whiteman and Trevor Reeder. And after 10 of the 25 ends, it's the local side, the West End side, who are leading by 18 shots to 2 as we watch this bowl of Wilson trying to get to the jack, gets a touch on it, just moves it back slightly closer to the George Lydiard bowl. And I just found out during the smoko break that Briar Atkinson, our marker here with the lollipops, not only would she be one of the youngest umpires going around, but she's also one of the one of the youngest, I would say, apprentice greenkeeper. She's on the apprentice greenkeeper scheme and apprentice greenkeeper here at Paritutu. A great bowl by Paul Whiteman and behind the jack. So, yeah, Briar Atkinson, not only a very competent player as the youngster in her own right, but also would be one of the youngest umpires in New Zealand, and also now, of course, as well as a apprentice greenkeeper. So on the mat now is the number 3 for this very classy West End side, Steve Walker. Here is Walker now, one down on the head, but leading 18-2 at N11, and may not come all the way back to the centre line. Trying to get onto the bowl, gets on it perfectly and does it again. Tips the bowl over, makes shot of it, and there Brian very quickly putting the lollipop up. Brian Atkinson, one shot to the Taranaki side, and pressure all the way end after end after end by this West End combination. So here is Paul Whiteman.
Not a bad effort here, neither.
Just going to go by. So John Niwa back here, also got Phil Quinney back here as well. There's got an array of commentary people here now. 18-2, and again it's the West End side holding the shot as the skips change over. And really, as John and I were discussing prior to the afternoon tea break, the Whangarei side have to be really more aggressive and try and give themselves better chances, John, of scoring opportunities.
Yeah, they've got to take it now, otherwise it's going to be too late.
Well, it will be. It'll go to about 18 ends and it'll be all over.
You think? Yeah. 10 ends gone, so yes, it's crucial for Northland to get some early points.
So here's the Craig DeFaria bowl just going by the head.
Not too bad, mate. Just a metre.
And a metre is the call over the head. You heard Steve Walker saying just a metre over. And we'll see here what Trevor Reader, Dusty Reader, can do on the backhand. Trying to get down to these counting bowls.
Underneath, mate.
He's underneath. You hear Steve, microphone. You hear Steve Smith just saying that he was under the head,
Best
and he
bowl,
was.
just try and reach greenie. Sit on there, it's a real good bowl.
And you heard there,
Hold him
Steve,
wide, though. Yep, stay there.
Steve Walker saying just try and get to the green bowl, sit on inside that, and you've made 3 of it. And earlier, of course, we saw
I
the
don't think it'll get here.
pairs.
No, not on that hand.
Won by the Johnsonville combination. So cover bowl, but could possibly count here for DeFaria. Needs to get to the green bowl of George Lydiards, but definitely out on the wide side. And again, we'll see Reader will try and play. Really, to hold that line, has to play with more weight to get under that line to get to the jack
Speed's
drum.
good for what you're trying to do, mate.
Well, another yard of weight, a bit would hold it up under that line. So here is Reader now on the mat, 2 down, trailing 18 shots to 2. We'll see very shortly what that line's like. It's a different line to his first. Needs to come back to the centre now. Needs to come back to the centre now. Could get it off the inside to the jack. Could do, doesn't do. Gets one.
Still got one, mate.
Gets one of them out. That's a 1. It's another end. That's 11 gone now. And we go to a 19-2 lead. 19-2 lead.
Yes, it's getting more crucial for Whangarei to score. Now, I note you refer to Trevor as Dusty.
Correct.
So does that mean he's pretty good?
Well, no, he's just always, and he doesn't know why he's called Dusty, right?
Oh, right.
But that's his well-documented name
Okay.
up in the north, Dusty Reader.
All right.
And how that came about, I don't know. So here's Jordan Lynn on the mat. very impressive has Jordan Lynn been throughout this final. To me, he's been outstanding. The platform that he's set up end after end after end.
Geordie. All over it, mate.
And there it is
Right up to the
again,
kitty.
right on the jack
That's it.
again, is the young West End lead. He's been outstanding right throughout this game and really puts the pressure on from bowl one.
That's why he's called the lead.
Yeah, well,
Shows
he's
the way.
leading, certainly. And Smith bowl just goes by. It's Jordan Lynn again. Out on that very good arc. And he'll come over the head. And that's the sort of leading that you want to see. One on, one over, just sets the head up all the way.
Just got to keep nibbling away, eh?
Great attempt here from Steve Smith. Needs to fall in, not out, and it does fall in. And may well have made shot at it. Measure is the call from Craig DeFaria. So here is DeFaria, number 2. Dave Wilson going by, but really, John, they've all been impressive, haven't they?
Yes, they have been. And he's gone a couple of metres over the head, so
You won't mind that.
better there than being short.
So here's George Lydiard trying to get to the head. It's a measure for the shot. This is a good attempt here from Lydiard. Needs to get just inside that bowl. Doesn't do so. Just goes by. And just saying to Dave Wilson, just need a metre off. So as we get to 11 minutes past 5, just starting to that temperature dropping. Good bowl coming here. Is it going to get all the way to the jack? A couple of more rolls, all but will fall out. But it's another good bowl on the head by Dave Wilson.
You don't want to watch this crap.
George Lydiard trying, needing 2 more rolls on the bowl. Craig DeFaria having a good look at the head, John, but I don't really think it makes much difference to the shot that they're going to play, really, whether it's one up or one down, does it really? You're still going to try and reach.
Yep.
And any movement, of course, on the draw would certainly favour that of the West End combination. So here's Steve Walker, the number 3. He's got the bowl out on that tidy wide side. Coming back now, will it come back? It's going to just touch that if the... No, it doesn't. I thought it was getting the back of the George Lydiard bowl. Not to be. So saying to Paul Whiteman, get on your forehand, try and get to the bowl, which is the measure bowl. Turn it over. Here's Whiteman on the forehand, trying to get down to it. It's on a pretty good line to get some contact
Something
here.
will happen here. In the
And,
middle.
and got the, certainly that looking on the monitor there, it was the Steve Smith bowl that appeared to be shot. So here is Steve Walker now. on a good line, just needs to get inside the George Lydiard green bowl. Not going to quite do so, but it's in behind the head. And of course, really, even though we're only in 12, to be fair, John, the West End side can play the board a bit to make sure that it's only ones or twos, cover the options, cover the dangers.
Yeah, cover, but still attempting to get the point.
And they will,
more ends they win, the better, even if it's just one or two.
They will be, I would imagine, trying to lock the game away and just making sure that, well, this morning in that semi-final, that nearly got away from them. Mark Noble on the last end had, I think it might have been the last end, but we were unfortunate not to have scored a big number. The Jack bounced back, so you just got to keep making sure. Although earlier they did have Noble sort of locked out of the game, but they, you just don't open the door very wide. No. That's the main thing.
Can't afford to lose composure. Each player has their responsibilities, and they're playing it well. The West End 4.
So here's Dafaria trying to get to the bowl. Stands the bowl up, but doesn't get the bowl right through the head. Reader now on his forehand. Looks to be out on that wide side.
Holding out, yes.
And will be. Yeah, it's a good call there from Steve Walker. That's been what I would call sensibly attacking the game with no risks, trying to reach through the bowl with a yard of weight over the head is Dafaria. And again, working hard on that line to try and get down to turn the Steve Smith bowl over. Does so. Is that enough? Not sure was the call, but was right on target to get to the shot bowl and turn it right through the head. And one's the call from Steve Smith. Of course, they hold this one. That'll be, to date, of course, they've only scored 2 singles. One on the first end, one on the 5th end. And now we may see one on the 12th end. It's going out on the wide side. They won't mind that. They've scored. Now, 19-3 now. So to me now, how comes the measure? May not be 19-3. As Steve Walker certainly not giving the shot away just yet. And so if it is the shot, the bowl, it is the Whangarei side. Now, I'm sure Grant Hassel sitting alongside me now. The game plan should be 2 metre to 2 metre. Just lengthen it right up, not up but back. Go to the old conventional 2x2. That's the way. And that's exactly what's been done. So I'm picking Steve Smith. We'll be trying to get to the jack right to the 2 metre mark. Go back to the.
He's about a metre from the 2 metre mark. So
and hoping it goes past.
Yeah,
hoping that it just goes past that and gets the jack down to that, close to that 2 metre mark. But no, he's not. It's at that very short length where it's literally, it's fair to say, John, it's close to a no man's land length, whereby it's neither one or the other, and this is where you can get very easily tricked.
Put a few bowls over the head, and then the last bowl played a kitty to them.
Well, I've seen players do that.
Yeah.
So here is Steve Smith. It's a pretty handy opening bowl, but lower the jack, and we'll just see how Jordan Lynn responds to that on his forehand. Will Jordan Lynn be? He's been persistent on that hand right throughout. Got the bowl out straight away on that very nice arc, and I don't think the length of the head affects him too much. Doesn't roll to this fella too much. just gets a feather on the bowl, the front bowl, and sits right alongside the jack. He's certainly been impressive, John, hasn't he?
Certainly has, yes.
He's been ultra consistent in and around the jack, and you know, if you're talking about a player of the day effort, well, it's certainly a player of the day effort. Good response here from Steve Smith. Just goes by. Still be that. The bowler Jordan Lynn will still be shot. Again, out on that good arc. He won't mind if he's another well-played bowl from Jordan Lynn. Just going to go by, just on the centre line. That's slightly over the head, but only out of a metre. He'd be quite happy about that. So, George Lydiard.
Played it pretty well. It's coming in.
He certainly has. You can get a touch on the jack. We'll go to the Steve Smith bowl and does.
Takes it through, gets the shot.
And that's 2 shots. That bowl of the touch on the jack from George Lydiard just moved the bowl to the Steve Smith bowl. So, Dave Wilson with his second bowl. Don't know if he's got the weight. You saw the body language when he delivered the bowl. He had the good line. Of course, what that does now, John, is sort of cuts that hand off, doesn't it?
Just they've got to come the other way now.
Makes it more challenging, and immediately we see George Lydiard change to the backhand with the fedora and the kneeling delivery. And just depends on the weight. Certainly on a good line, this bowler, George.
It's going to drop short.
Lydiard slides through the port. And was more than likely a bowl away from being in a counting position.
It's actually over the head, yeah. Probably a bowl over the head, so nothing wrong with it there.
So the trail is what's been looked for by the West End side, trying to draw through that port to the jack. And there's a good effort here from Dave Wilson, trying to get to the jack. He's going to do so. How's that? Sure, got a feather off a bowl, but he was in the target area all the way. And when it's going for you like that and you're playing with that such good controlled draw weight, you certainly put yourself in a pretty strong position. And that's exactly, again, what this West End side have done, leading 19 shots to 3. After, this is end 13. Don't think Paul Whiteman has got the weight to reach that for the trail or movement of the jack. No, it's not. It's half a metre low. The West End side really, John, have been pretty classy, haven't they?
Oh, right throughout. And no doubt they've had to get to where they are, they've had to play during the section play as well to the same performance as they're playing now.
Well, and again,
consistency
and compliments to them, and also, you know, good players are always able to play good shots on good greens, and because of what's been presented here at the Taranaki Open in the presentation of the greens around the province, it certainly lent itself to, you know, the good players being able to get that consistency, which tends to give you good results.
Definitely. I mean, I played with some young guys from up North Auckland. They were with Tupu Campbell's team, first time down here. And when they played, Leperton was our first day, and they just couldn't get over how fast the green was, and they got better as we went on during the week. But you know, they want to be able to continue playing here and bring a team down. These two young fellas, only 2-3 year bowlers, and their first experience of this tournament. And so they have a goal to formulate a team and bring it down. I think,
That's what it's all about.
For the future, that's great.
It's great to hear. And, you know, there's teams, as we know, who come back year after year after year. But, you know, the success of any tournament such as this is, it also needs new cattle coming into the field. And and that's important. That's I just say to people, if you want to play the game and you want to play on the best greens and you want to have the best competition, you can't beat the Taranaki Open. And in saying that, you know, the opportunity to play here during the National Fours and mixed pairs, it's a great opportunity to play in a fantastic location here in Taranaki and play on the best greens in New Zealand. So, you know, great place to come to.
Definitely, and we pride our greens here in Taranaki and all the Greenkeepers Association. And hey, it was just interesting at afternoon tea time there that we were given information about the trainee greenkeeper.
We were, it's a young Briar. It's amazing,
yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so that's great. Yeah, she's a trainee greenkeeper, and she's umpiring today. And so, yeah, that's tremendous.
Should more than likely be one of New Zealand's youngest umpires and also one of New Zealand's youngest greenkeepers or trainee greenkeepers as well.
Yes.
So here's Craig DeFaria endeavouring to, well, really, he can be quite conservative. He doesn't need to attack. He's got the back bowl as well. He's going to finish just over the jack high.
5 seconds, just get rid of that.
Yeah.
You've got 5 seconds. Well,
Have a look, mate. I don't know.
yeah, that body language doesn't sound too good, does it? Well, if there's a big chance, if there's a chance there, well, I think you've got a chance to attack it.
You just got to draw up to it and.
Well, if he attacks it through it, he might lose a one or two.
He will.
But if the door's open, you
got to take it.
You got to, you know. Steve Smith there clearly indicating where the jack needs to go to. So you play through there with a yard of weight or yard and a bit of weight. Hope that it gets some movement of the jack, and I can't see what the back is.
Doesn't matter now.
And Steve Smith's exactly right in what he says there. It doesn't really matter now. We've got to.
Means you get a Chardonnay earlier.
Yeah, I heard that. We get a Chardonnay earlier.
They've got to take the risk.
They've got to. Absolutely, they do. Absolutely.
And he goes.
And he's playing with that, playing with the weight that'll get a result, which is the main thing. And he will do. And he will do. But it's not the result he wanted. And still got the shot. The blue bowl sitting there of the West End side.
Oh, sorry, mate.
Oh.
Well, I don't think you need to come and have a look, Craig. You've actually got the shot, and you're leading 19-3. But unfortunate there really was Trevor Reeder. He played the shot. Might have been a wee bit off target. Played the shot though, and as the bowls rolled all around the place, just so happened that it went to where one of the West End bowls are located. So still holding the one shot, leading 19-3 as we come to the end of in 13 of 25, and it will be at least another one to the West End side. They're looking at this bowl too as it breaks towards the head. He might make 2 of it here, and needs to sit and does. Sits jack level.
Yep, taking 2 out. Close 30.
Close to putting the measure on for the third, definitely 2. And, you know, this now is becoming, nothing's ever mission impossible, but it's coming mission very, very hard.
Yeah.
Is that bowl there closer? But no, our other one there, look.
Oh, this one here? Oh, yep, sorry.
Is that our closest or not?
No.
Don't think so.
No. 3.
3 it is.
Mission impossible. Right, I'll take leave now. Get Quinny on.
So John Newer is going to go and have put his feet up, and Phil Quinney, the voice of Taranaki sport, he'll come in for a while now. Will Phil Quinney, the man who has commentated everything in Taranaki, rugby, cricket, you name it, bowls, all sorts of sports, has Phil Quinney. He is. That's good. Put a cold cup of tea along.
Is that me? Oh.
So Jeff Bishop just walking by, another two-copper legend, another one. They're everywhere, Phil.
I know.
They're everywhere, eh?
Incredible they didn't win the final this year.
Yeah, well...
The great Jeff Bishop, he just told me.
Oh, he'd never have any trouble telling you that.
Now, last time I was here, Kevy, this was a very close game. I think they'd only played about 3 ends, but things have changed, haven't they?
Very, very quickly, Phil. It's been the consistency of Jordan Lynn really off the front. He's played outstandingly well, and what I would also say is that perhaps the Whangarei side just sort of lacked what I would call the shot selection, of which the Craig DeFaria side has been able to take advantage of. And you know, it's only been 2, but they did get a 5 on the 10th end, which was the big a big break.
There's a good ball coming in here though.
But it's really about what the front is doing for the West End side. As Steve Smith draws just a touch on the jack.
Just dragged it back. He might have just knocked it through to Jordan Lynn's bowl. It's a very, very close measure for shot there. But yes, it's a long week though, Kevin, isn't it? And this is 6 days in a row in really draining weather. It's been extremely hot here. Taranaki, you know, the highest sunshine hours in the country, Kev. I'm sure you've been told.
I've been, yeah.
You know, and the most livable city in the world.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's extremely tough this week, and maybe there's a bit of that fatigue coming in for the Northland boys. Not that they're unused to playing in hot weather, obviously, but not just that. It's just the demands of the week and the mental strain as much as anything.
It's well, the first job is, and the hardest job always, is to qualify.
Yeah, of course.
People say 6 out of 8. That's a formality.
Yeah.
Well, it's not.
It's not.
6 out of 8 is a challenge, and then you line up, and then everybody's after everybody from then on in, and there's no second chances. So the only big advantage that you've got, of course, is playing the 25 end game. You do have a lot of ends to try and stay in a game or get back into a game. So it is a long week. And of course, this week, you rest assured, Phil, I've mentioned about the sunshine hours. Yes, absolutely, and
the most livable city in the world. Have you?
Yes, well, look at that for magnificently played there from the West End number 2, Dave Wilson. And while we're watching this as well, with George Lydiard, is it fair to say, Phil, that the town's going good, moving ahead?
Well, it's been moving ahead for quite some time, Kevin. Well, it certainly has. When I've been here 35 years, I pulled into town for a weekend in 1987, and I'm still here. But it's developed, especially over the last 20, 25 years, enormously, from a typical provincial New Zealand dairy farming town to what is now very much a cosmopolitan city with a really strong arts sector, strong events area. We've got obviously the Bowl of Brooklands with all that attracts, but so many sporting events that we've had over the last 20 or 30 years, World Cup triathlons, World Long Track Speedway, Bowls National, all of those. It's a major event. So the city's really transformed in the last 20 years through some strong leadership and real visionary leadership from several of our community leaders over a long period of time. And it's a wonderful city. We're stuck out on the bite, out on the bump, midway between Wellington and Auckland. It's a destination city. You've got to go off the beaten track, off the main route to get here. and so many people do. But no, it's a magnificent part of the country, and again, that's why so many people love coming here and spending this week playing bowls. And of course, the ladies next week as well, starting on Tuesday, to cap off a big bowls fortnight. But there's going to be some big bowls required from the Northland side here, mate.
Oh, they've either got a long afternoon or a very short afternoon in front of them.
Well, it was looking like it was going to be a very long afternoon, but it might be the other one, 22-3, halfway.
This is between you and I, Phil, but I've put a line across here.
Oh, okay. You've nominated a number.
I've nominated a number, and these things change dramatically where I think that we're situated.
You might be right, but just to elaborate that point, I mean, you're seeing a lot of shorter bowls from this Northland side that you just wouldn't have seen this morning in the semi-final, and certainly yesterday. So, I mean, that fatigue does crop up. Local side as well, knowing the conditions maybe just a little bit better, even though the conditions are damn near perfect today.
I was talking to Mike Walsh at the Smoko break, and he was saying that, and the Northland side did say as well, that the green has slowed down by about a yard, so to speak. Sometimes, that it can make a big difference. But I think what we are seeing is that, and this is a big compliment, I'll come back to the greenkeepers of Taranaki, is the other reason why this West End side, in my view, is playing so well is because they play on good greens all the time. Now, I'm not saying they're bad greens in Northland, but if you're playing on good surfaces all the time, it certainly is going to lift your performance, isn't it?
Yep. And there's always a debate come the weekend as to what green's going to host the final. You know what that's like.
I do.
West End certainly very much in the mix there, and it comes down to a number of factors. The quality of the greens, there's not normally much between them.
No, there's not. Well, I hear for the Nationals coming up here, good effort here from Reader, just going to go by and may in fact be holding the shot with the front bowl. But what I believe that the finals of the Somerset National Fours are going to be held at West End, and the finals of the Somerset National Mixed Pairs are going to be held here at Paritutu.
Okay.
That's so.
Well, let's hope that we still have a Somerset National Fours and Mixed Pairs to play. Optimistic.
Oh, yes. Well, last year, Phil, in Central Otago, when we had the inaugural Fours and Mixed Pairs, we actually had a COVID change during the event.
Right.
And we had to go to, literally, it wasn't a red scenario then, whatever it was at that point in time.
Yeah.
But we went to a no crowd thing, and at Alexandra they were around the wire fence, in fact, watching, and the club room had to be divided into two. And I see, like tomorrow, Tuesday, the Taranaki Women's Fours, they've now made the adjustment, so it's one section per green, so there's no two green, no two green sections to abide with the COVID scenario, and it was one to the Northland side, and
well, picking them up in ones, but they need more than that, don't they?
Not enough ends depth for ones.
They pick up singles over the next 13 ends, it's not enough.
Definitely not enough.
22-4, 14 gone, 11 to go, so they've got to start to really turn things around, don't they, and pick up some decent numbers here, and it's not going to be easy against this West End side that's been, I think, to be fair, Kevin played the better bowls all the way through to the scoreboard, suggests that obviously, but as you've said a couple of times, they're playing the more controlled bowls.
Absolutely.
Jordan Lynn just leading things off beautifully for his team, setting a great foundation, and they're all chiming in and just putting too much pressure on the Northland side. But, as we know, it's never over with 11 ends to go.
Absolutely
18 shots is certainly not impossible to draw back, but they're going to have to fight really, really hard to do so. And we know that Craig DeFari in particular is a superb driver of the bowl, and if he's under threat, he'll pull out the big guns and take this deep into the night, as he may well do.
Wow, there's a good opening bowl from Steve Smith right in front of the jack. And the couple of times when the West End side have had a bit of pressure around the head, and I would say very, very good skipping by Craig DeFaria. He hasn't mucked around. He's moved in, played attacking shots, and minimised the chances for scoring chances or big scoring chances for the Northland side. And you know, when you get bowls here like Jordan Lynn, where that bowl's sitting there as second shot, you're not going to drop big numbers. That's the big thing, isn't it? You can control the scoreboard a bit.
So, Kev, do you go into a defensive sort of mode here? Not fully defensive, but as you say, Defaria's side have got the luxury to be able to play second, third shot and know that singles aren't going to do it. And if they don't drop a 4 or a 5, you know, in the next few ends, then they're looking pretty good. So
absolutely,
you know, that's a backup for them.
So they don't have to gamble to try and get numbers. The biggest thing is to make sure that they play their heads well enough whereby they negate, like the old drafts and chess, where they negate the opportunity for them to score, literally closing their opportunities out of the game, and with you getting good lead bowls off the front, as we're going to see.
Good track here again.
Yeah, he'll go over the head, down past the 2 metre mark. Yeah. But if he stays up, they won't mind that at all.
Good back bowl there.
Right under the number.
Found a good home, as Craig would say. It's right behind the jack, just less than half a metre from the ditch. So good backup bowl there. And that's again the protection they're putting in, because they've got the luxury of an 18-shot lead, 14 ends in. So pressure really on the reader side here to load up this head and try and put as much pressure on as they can. There's 2 in there now.
And George Lydiard with that. Yes, the fedora. But it's, to me, it's been the consistency of this West End side that has been impressive.
Certainly has. And Craig's been leading this quality side for a number of years now.
He's certainly had these players with him for quite some time, hasn't he?
And 2019 champions, of course, and here's a good bowl coming in here, just carrying enough weight to make a difference, is it? No, just slides underneath the bowl.
But it's only one, but it's still only the one shot.
To one.
So again, the chances of the reader combination of building a number on this particular head, and that body language of George Lydiard sort of sums it up. Well, we've got one, I can't just get him any more, really. And
it's a tough ask, no doubt about that, but they'll keep fighting, as they have done all week. They've come back from deficits before this side. So
well, they were one of the ones that had to win. I think might have been their last 2 they had to win.
That's right, to qualify.
To qualify for post-section play.
Well, Steve Smith was skipping through section play.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was skipping the side through section play and into post-section play before Trevor Reader took over, calling the shots. So they've really had to fight hard to get through to the business end of the tournament, but then played some wonderful bowls over the last couple of days, Friday and Saturday, to get through to this final. And they've beaten some quality sides to get here too.
Well, I thought this morning, in their semi-final this morning, I thought they were very impressive the way how they handled the game this morning.
Mark Anderson's not easy to beat.
Absolutely. If you look at the class that Anderson side, and they're previous winners, numerous Taranaki titles, etc., and they made life difficult right throughout the whole game for the Mark Anderson side. And as you rightly say, Phil, they're a very, very good side. And
not only that, they knock out a good pie.
They do.
The Anderson steak and cheese is right up there.
It's,
right up there.
The pie's had a bit of publicity this week.
Has it? I'm not surprised. Although I'm a Nelson's Pies fan from Inglewood, of course.
Oh, Inglewood. Yes,
being an Inglewood supporter, you can't beat the Nelson's Pies. But Anderson's a close second, as they were this morning.
Well,
close second.
Down here, of course, at Paritutu years ago, it was Andre's Pies was that was the flavour of the month.
You know, we've got plenty to choose from. Do you want me to go through a list of them? I'm a pie expert, as you can tell by looking at me.
No, you look good, Phil. You've weathered well.
Like some of these bowls today, they're carrying just a little bit too much weight.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. That's life. We're still breathing.
Exactly.
Swallowing a lot of pills.
Well, speak for yourself. On the back end here, let's see, sliding under. So holding one, the Northland side, but one's only going to extend the match.
It is.
And a moment or 5, but they need more than that, obviously, as we've said. So again, Craig's side here just stacking this head, making it very, very difficult to build anything more than those singles. Taking plenty of green.
Yeah, he's got it well played out here as Paul Whiteman. This is Going to get inside the. No, it's just going to go outside those bowls.
Weight's good, buddy. Getting that for another one on the head is a good bowl.
And Phil, with talking about the rugby before, is how we're looking with Yarrow Stadium. How far away is the great stadium from?
It's on the way back, laying the new turf in a matter of weeks, and it's going to be a state-of-the-art turf as well. So it's still got a bit to go, but not this season, but not this year, but next year. I think we'll be back in action at Yarrow Stadium, we hope. So it's Inglewood's been the home of Taranaki rugby.
And it's been
very
great.
successful.
Very successful.
Can I just mention that,
very
Kevin? An unbeaten season to take out the championship. Taranaki, no promotion. No promotion.
Yeah, look,
so we're still
don't start me on that. I'm Mark Robinson. Don't start me. No.
But watch the space. I think there's a lot of talk around what the format's going to look like in 2022 as far as the national championship is concerned.
Well, there's certainly the opening to create a different structure.
2 divisions for 14 teams. Really? Internationally, worldwide, what competition has 2 divisions for 14 teams? A team that goes through the season, don't get me started here, but here I go. The team that gets through a season 10 out of 10 and finishes 8th in a 14-team competition.
Yes, that's
not right.
No, absolutely.
Win a championship and get to celebrate, and that's it.
And and I'll be really parochial about it. And again, this is sort of having a real dig at the New Zealand Rugby Union or the award. Got to have it here, and that's a good make. 3 of it actually. And how?
Very good ball. Here we go. Now this might just change things a fraction here. Here we go.
Just 3, 4 in fact. 4 is the number up.
Ace umpire Brian Atkinson Watt signals 4. So now this has changed, hasn't it? This is just what Reader needed.
They need a head
to get back in, to give them a sniff. Now Defaria, for the first time in quite some time, under a wee bit of pressure here to try and cut this down, or maybe get rid of it altogether.
He'll play with weight through those bowls. There's plenty to work on. Defaria, and as Phil's quite right, it's the first time he's really been under pressure.
He's winding up. Got the sight set.
Got the sight set on that big target in front of him. He's on his
He's
way. He'll get something. And he does. 2.
A couple out, so down to 2.
And I want to know why Neil Barnes was not the coach of the year.
Probably better drawing there.
Well, as you can tell, there's no answer to that question.
No.
How can he not be coach of the year?
Well, he was.
And even more so, how is Taranaki not even nominated for Team of the Year?
Absolutely.
Let alone unbeaten, 10 from 10. They beat Waikato, who were Team of the Year.
Yeah,
and they don't even get nominated. We're in the top 3. South Canterbury, God bless them. I spent a year in Timaru, loved them to bits, and they got nominated, along with Waikato and some other team. What, the Crusaders, they're not bad. But here's Taranaki, 10 out of 10. How many times do you go through a season unbeaten, win the whole thing, and we're not even nominated? And Neil Barnes, what a coaching effort that is. He's taken a team that couldn't win a raffle for 3 years to an unbeaten season, beaten 4 teams in the Premiership, including the Premier champions, and he's not coach of the year.
Yeah, John Neal was agreeing with us, by the way.
Well, you can't not agree. Mark Robinson's the only guy who won't agree, and he played for us too.
Absolutely.
On,
he played in the Amber and Blacks,
Made him an All Black.
A Naki boy.
Made him an All Black.
And,
Well, he had to go to Canterbury to become an All Black, but we made him one here.
Absolutely.
People think I'm joking.
So Defaria now trying to play to these 2-shot bowls. Is it going to hold up long enough?
Got something here.
Just he'll get one more. Well, that's well played, and there it's gone. 2 bowls has gone from 4 to 1.
Now, and again, that's gutting, isn't it? For Trevor Reader, they just think, here we go, we're a chance. With 2 bowls out, we're holding 4, and then bang, bang, we're down to 1, and it's
another end gone.
22-5. Just when they look like the chance of getting a bit of a sniff and maybe give themselves a lift, that's just kicked them right in the solar plexus.
Yeah, that's. But again, it's well played by you got to give full credit to the West End side of the way how they've controlled the game, they've managed the game, got in front, and then just controlled, as you rightly said, they took away a chance of dropping a number to 1.
Now, Kevin, I know everyone's not
Oh.
watching live streaming. I've got to go and tell all the good news to our fine listeners at News Talk ZB Taranaki, so I'll take a break, go and have another cup of tea,
Cup of tea.
and I'll come back if it's still going.
If it's still going, well,
Happy to come and have a chat with you
News
again.
Talk ZB, you know, you're at 6 o'clock news, so...
I've got to get the company helicopter out and get back to the studio. See you soon.
Okay, Phil. It's Phil Quinney with us, who's been with us again, the man, the voice of sport in Taranaki, and a long-time man on the station here in Taranaki, and always great to have a chat with Phil. We go back a few jam seasons, I suppose you could say, but it's always great to have Phil along, and he is. It's fair to say, you might have got the idea from him, that he's very, very patriotic about Taranaki and the sport and other activities in our very proud province, Taranaki. So, John Neva, joining me back, the Mayor of Waitara.
I note you've made a prediction. What do you reckon?
I've got a line here. I'm not going to be unfair.
No, don't. Let's have a look. Where? Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, I'd say one before that.
Well, okay, there you go. We're making a prediction. And again, we've seen Jordan Lim with his second bowl. He's drawn the shot again, has the lead for the Craig DeFaria side. He's been outstanding right throughout this game. So here, George Lydiard trying to draw to the bowl, goes by. And as the afternoon, or the evening moves in as well, John, that the green just changes a wee bit as well.
Yes, a bit of moisture sort of comes through and just changes the speed of the ball.
And once again, thank you to Tamara and Melissa, who are the two hard-working ladies here who bring us all that live streaming. Tamara, of course, was with me at Burnside at the Somerset National Championships. Then the following weekend, Melissa and Tamara with me at the Burnside Piers. And now, again, the wonderful, well, the trifecta, the three of us, at the Taranaki Open Fours. And, of course, they will be remaining in New Plymouth this week, doing some sightseeing around the wonderful province, as they'll be doing also coverage of the Taranaki Ladies Open Fours next weekend as well. And then, of course, we will be back here, being the positive person, we'll be back here for the Somerset National Fours and Somerset National Mixed Pairs to be played around the greens of Taranaki in the last week of February, first week of March, and we're looking forward to a grand event like we had last year in Central Otago last year.
Yes, well, a lot have spoken about the technology and the pictures coming out from the viewing them in some of the clubs around Taranaki is very good, so well done. Well done.
They do a wonderful
There's about
job.
8. How many cameras you got here? About 8 on the green, and so you're getting good close-ups. In fact, it's probably clearer. Yeah, no, definitely. It's 100%. Yeah. I can remember when you did the first one here. Oh, no, it might have been at West End.
Yes, that's correct.
Up on the bank.
That's correct,
And
up on the bank at
just
West
had the
End.
phones, eh?
That's
Just
correct.
Had little
That's correct.
cell phones.
That's correct.
But now,
Well, I can tell you that Tamara and
200%.
I had earlier had done, I think, our first venture to the national championships in Dunedin on doing the similar thing, and we came down here to Taranaki, and I can assure you that I was on the phone to Tamara very early in the morning trying to get some operating instructions to get it all going. Touch on the bowl, a Whiteman, make shot of it. But we got there. We got through.
yeah, so it's a good investment that Bowls New Zealand have contributed to all this technology, and I'm sure it's improved the opportunities for young people to see the game
It
played to a high standard.
It has, John, and also what it has done is that you only got to look, for example, now on Facebook and the number of clubs now who are continuously on Facebook with results, with updates of what's going on, photos of club events and all sorts of things. And that all really stemmed from that early work that Tamara and others did to get their first live streaming project underway. And as you know, I've been part of it from day one.
Yep.
And I love it. And I think I know now that we deliver a product which is equal to sitting at home in your lounge and watching Channel 51 or 52.
Yes, well, I was instrumental in getting the Bowls Waitera Facebook page up and running, and it's been really good for the members. You know, you don't have to go up to the club and find out where you're playing on the Tuesday or Thursday. And,
yeah, absolutely.
You know, on the chalk blackboard or whatever. Now you just open up and, you know, where you're playing. And our president, Cliff Rona, he's instrumental in making sure the teams are up there on Facebook. And our publicity officer, you know, keeps posting pictures of members wherever they're playing around the province or nationally, and so it keeps all the members informed.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things I've found very interesting, John, is a number of what I would call smaller clubs who you wouldn't have thought would have embraced this sort of technology have done so. And as you rightly say, there's now regular updates, events, and trying to get down is Defaria just went by.
Just held up.
Good effort. Still got one.
And holding one is well, it's interesting. I know it's only one, but if they were to hold on to this one, you know, that's 3 ends in a row that we would have seen the Trevor Reader side score. I don't know if this has got the weight. It hasn't got the weight, this bowler Readers, and Defaria again will play down to try and say to turn the...
Much, mate. Just got to put that down. The weight's pretty good for the shot.
Yeah.
And you heard there Steve Walker saying you just got to...
Aye. No, stay there. You're real close. You're only one down.
Good call, Steve Walker.
He's holding in. Steve's holding in. I say, no, you play.
Yeah, there's no...
Play here.
No need for any fancy stuff at this point in time, is there? So here is Craig Defaria, one down on the head. Is it going to come back far enough? Trying hard.
Pretty well.
Trying hard to get back to the Jordan and Bowl. Gets into...
Pushed it out further.
So a further one to the Northland side. Takes it them now to 22-6 to the Craig Defaria skip side of the West End Club in New Plymouth in this final of the 117th Taranaki Open Fours here at the Paritutu Bowling Club. It's a side of Jordan Lynn, Dave Wilson, Steve Walker and Craig Defaria. Defaria, they are leading the Northland side of Steve Smith, George Lydiard, Paul Whiteman and Trevor Reader by 22 shots to 6 as we go to end 17 of 25. And Phil Quinney should have just about got in time to get on the phone for the 6 o'clock news. So on the backhand will be Steve Smith, where he's been constantly throughout the day. Thank you, those people who have been watching throughout the day. This Taranaki Open Fours, our pleasure to bring you this coverage. Of course, the girls will be back next week with the Taranaki Women's Open Fours. And then we'll be here again for the Somerset National Fours and Mixed Pairs. Pretty important event tomorrow, John, in New Plymouth as well. I see it's a 2 copper AGM tomorrow.
Oh, is it? My apologies.
Duo of that apology.
Yeah.
So Steve Smith getting frustrated with he can't get that weight. He can't get that weight right. There, Jordan Lynn sort of went past with his first, and the door sort of left open a wee bit there, John, on this particular end for the Northland side with that change of length for, you know, and Steve Smith would have liked to have really been a lot closer to put pressure on with those early two bowls.
Yep, you've got about 1.5 meters each side of the jack, so there's plenty of room.
So George Lydiard, he's out on that wider side, and how far will it come back to that centre line? It's coming back fairly good, and that's going to finish just slightly over the jack, and that's the shot for sure. And holding 3 at this stage. One's close to the jack, the other 2 quite some distance away. And Dave Wilson now, he'll endeavour on his backhand to get past the Steve Smith bowl. If he gets past the Steve Smith bowl on the draw, he could be close to shot. Craig DeFari is looking closely at this bowl. Is it not quite going to make it? Need another roll to be right to the jack, 22-6. And remembering 158 sides started this event last Monday in section play, of which one of those is John Newer, who's sitting alongside me. And there's no doubt, John, isn't it? The old 6 out of 8 gives everybody a great opportunity to qualify, don't you? You're guaranteed.
That's for sure.
Those 8 games.
Yes, if you can get an early start, it helps. But, you know, some teams play their last game on the Thursday and need it to win. And it's stiff competition right through.
Well, if you look at this Northland side, you know, they were one of those. Here they are in the final now. They had to win their last 2. Here's a great bowl here, gets past. Look at this from Dave Wilson, right in behind the jack. Yeah, well, that's where you leave the gate open, and
they've taken it.
They've taken it straight away. Here is now Paul Whiteman, and that's where you want to try and capitalise to try and build the head straight away. It's been lost by the Northland side at this point in time, and Paul Whiteman's got this bowl out on a pretty good arc. How far is it going to come back? It's got a wee bit of weight. It's going to sit inside. It'll go through the gap. Sits inside on the back of the bowl, and that's a second shot. Of course, from the Defaria side, if they can hold on to the one, it's actually another end gone. And that's at this point in time, John, that just puts them closer to the finishing line, doesn't it?
Yeah. Closer to what I estimated.
Oh, here's a good attempt. Again, here's another bowl from Steve Walker. Not sure if it counted, but there's some keen observers sitting there.
Don't think so.
I think it's just the one. Just the one. Just seen with a briar. She's scratching her ear, not putting not putting the lollipop up. But that's fine. So here's where you've got to play with that little bit of extra weight, John, to make sure that on that backhand side, playing with the yard through the head, that you hold up under the tight line and hold that tight line so you don't disappear under the head. Imperative that Whiteman plays with weight that's going to straight away. You'd think that's not the line.
Going to come around it.
One of the other things, John, about sitting in this position is in the commentary position. You can pretty quickly you can see out of the the line. You can pretty quickly judge
line
that
that's
line.
going to take, yeah, more so than out there. Yeah, that's one good thing about it. I mean, I'm learning.
It's great technology, and of course the big thing that we've got now, whereas a few years ago, another good bowl here from the West End side by Steve Walker. One of the other great things now as well, though, John, is we don't have the time gap between what's going on, being filmed, or what's actually going on your monitor. It's virtually, when we say live, that's it. That's it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
22-6 as the skips change over on this end 17 of 25, and it's the West End side. Again, the Craig DeFaria skip side who is holding the shot. Trying to play with weight up to the jack. This is the shot he needs to into the play, and will do so.
Killed it.
Killed it. And even Steve Smith didn't want that kill, to be fair. And just repeating from earlier on that the pairs, this is to the consolation pairs, was won earlier on today by the side of Nucky Niahima and Nian McGibbon of the Johnsonville Club in Wellington. They defeated from the they defeated the Bannockburn combination of Alan Rickard and Hugh Andrews in that final earlier on today. So we've got a replay now of the 17th end. So, first bowl, Steve Smith bowl, breaks down towards the 2 metre mark, just going to drift past that 2 metre mark now, down towards the deep end of the ditch, down towards right underneath the number 2, the rink number.
Yeah, got a good line here.
He has. Jordan Lynn coming down towards the 2 metre mark, that point just going to go by, but still handy enough. And he's certainly been outstanding. Oh, we're having debates here between now Phil Quinney and John Niwa. I don't know whether Phil might be able to tell me. Was that Maori pension or something? Was it that so Johnny Niwa was
Kevy, how are you?
Phil, how are you? You're back.
Yeah, we got the return flight from the helicopter back. I only just got there on time. It's not easy getting the radio coverage, but both of our listeners are hanging out for that report. What's happened while I've been away?
Well, we had 3 ones from the Northland side, and the Craig DeFaria side certainly not loosening their grip at all on this final. And again, it's Jordan Lynn who's got the bowls in behind the jack there, holding the 2 shots. The jack just below the 2 metre mark. And it's really been about that convincing performance from the front of this team that I think is really setting them up. There's a good bowl coming here, though, from George Lydiard, the number 2.
It's on the money.
Certainly
right on
is.
the money. Just rocks up a fraction short, but takes the shot. But they've got to build on that. And as we've said, Kevy, that's the hardest thing for them to do in the form that Craig has been in.
Absolutely. It's now the time in the game where if you get to end 19 and you're hunting 4s, it's time to shake hands.
Exactly.
Because if they have, well, the whole story is that if they haven't come during the game, they're not all of a sudden going to arrive.
No, I mean, the tea break, it was a handy lead, wasn't it? 16 shots.
Correct.
At the afternoon tea break, and you can come back from that, but you've got to come back quickly from that. You can't just do what these guys have done. And we've seen that on a number of occasions. I was watching my old mate Roger Hassel in the first round of post-section play on Friday, down 14-1 at the tea break.
They were too.
Yeah.
They were.
I mentioned to him that, look, he just maybe needed something a little bit more than a cup of tea to get himself into the game. And I don't know what he had. He wouldn't confirm nor deny it. But whatever they did, it worked and turned the game around very quickly. But,
They did.
But very quickly was the key. You know, they didn't let that gap grow. They had to get back into it, and they did so. So,
And they
unfortunately,
picked up
Reader just hasn't been able to do that.
No, he hasn't. And I was here and they played it on the back green, and Roger and the side.
Darren Goodens.
Darren Gooden, they were able to pick up some chunky numbers.
Yeah.
And all of a
Some big
sudden, the opposition were on a different mindset, trying to play in between shots or whatever, and the Darren Gooden side just hung in. And
Well, it's that psychology, isn't it? And, you know, look, if Reader could pick up a big end, a 5 or a 6, and Defaria starts to think, oh, I thought we had this in the bag, all of a sudden, if they get a couple of big ends, they grab 10 back in 2 or 3, then the psyche does change. But they're not showing any signs of being able to deliver those bowls at the right time that they need to, and again, well short
from Paul Whiteman there, and you know, from Craig Defaria's point of view, he's quite happy for them to score these ones, and you know, when the opportunity might come to take a number, they'll play for it. But you're quite right that like that short bowl there of Paul Whiteman's. And again, we're watching now. You hear Craig Defaria straight away saying, right, we're down, but we've still got a chance of scoring. So, and with no risk really.
Well, they're down, but they can be down. They can drop 1 or 2.
Absolutely, they can.
It's not going to hurt them. They're not well down. They're not going to drop a 4 or a 5. So here we come. Bit of weight.
Got something.
As Craig said, got the shot bowl.
And of course, every bowl that they take away from the opposition that are around the head, it reduces the number of what they can score as well. So I just see your friend Roger Hassel making his way into the clubhouse.
Roger's still supporting the tournament, shall we say?
Yeah, well, he was being very vocal in there before.
He's not short of a word.
Well, he was
short in many aspects,
short
but not short of a word.
But he was most concerned about the tickets. He didn't think that his team's tickets had been fairly distributed. So he'd come down to raise the point and say, you know, look,
the hospitality tickets.
Yeah, so he had Don Christensen lined up.
He's got good connections in that area.
He has, absolutely. There's one just sitting very close to you and I.
Yeah, but he needs to be careful he doesn't make too much of a thing of it, because he may well be denied access to the ticketing facility, even though his son runs the tournament. But it's great to see so many still here in the clubhouse and around the venue, and the great Gary Lawson here with his lads. Disappointed, obviously, that he didn't make the final and go all the way, but a great week that he's had. It's been a while since we've seen Gary.
It is a while since
this venue.
Gary's been here.
Yeah, but he's supporting the tournament as well as we speak, which is fantastic. So great to see so many of the players and supporters and family that have hung around to watch the conclusion of this magnificent week of bowls. It really has been the weather's been absolutely spot on. Gee, Monday and Tuesday, Kev, I thought we might have lost 1 or 2 with heat stroke. It was scorching.
It was, by all accounts, it was certainly up there in the old heat department. And here's Defaria, just tips the bowl over, and that makes shot of it. That brings the front bowl, the bowl behind the head of Jordan Lins. That's certainly shot at the end 17.
Very rare thing happened on Wednesday and Thursday. We got a bit of cloud here because there's so many sunshine hours here, Kevin. I think we might have mentioned before, leading the country. And the cloud came from we didn't know what it was. It's like Independence Day. It was just just this massive.
Here's a good response here. Reader and he gets the shot, draws a front toucher, but as Phil and I just said, the reward for him is more than just going to be the 1. So, and another end gone. I remarked, in fact, yesterday, Phil, sitting here up on the bank, sitting there with Marlene Castle up there, and there wasn't a cloud in the sky. No. Absolutely just blue sky.
Yeah, it's been a magnificent week, no doubt about that. Absolutely magnificent, as it has been around the country for the last few weeks.
Yeah, it has.
2022 is,
It's been very good.
Scorching weather. Been a glorious summer, no doubt about that. So far, COVID allowing, we're hopeful that it will continue with events, but obviously a lot of things, including, I've just heard, the Prime Minister's wedding has fallen victim.
Yeah,
she's cancelled her own wedding.
I believe
What's
so.
the red light? Here's Defaria.
Looking, hunting.
This is good.
How's that?
Bold.
How's that?
Beautifully
4
done.
shots.
Unbelievable.
That's the shot of the game, that bowl.
Superb bowl. And
One down to a front toucher, and you play that bowl.
And again, Kevy, as we said before, that's soul destroying, isn't it?
Oh,
Even
absolutely.
though they're only holding one, it's just another one gone. And you can see, look at the look on the faces of the guys on the bench behind our camera here. What more do we have to do? They were holding 4 or 5 a few ends ago. They've had singles on just about every end since. And here's Defaria coming in and just taking away any opportunity they have, any sniff of a hope that they have. 26-6, 20 the difference. Just 8 to go. It's looking like the hands coming out and shaking very, very soon.
Absolutely.
It's gutting, isn't it, for these guys? I mean,
it is. They've sort of toiled away all week, and look, even if you lose the final, you obviously you want to win them.
And here's Jordan right on the money
again, right on the jack area again. But you want to be in there with a chance, get into those last ends, 22 to 25.
Yep.
You want to be in there, when the bells are ringing, to have a chance.
And that's the sad thing, isn't it? And you got to feel for Trevor and his team. I mean, the last thing you want is to come to the final and not be in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
And after a huge week that they've had, you just want to be able to compete and be on your game, and they just haven't quite been there this afternoon. But they are currently being beaten by a side that's just continuing their tremendous form right through the week.
Oh, the class.
Through section play, unbeaten. So unbeaten all week, and just a phenomenal performance from Craig's side.
Well, that shot there that Craig Defaria just played to turn, one down with it to a toucher, to turn it into 4 up, that tells you that.
And he would have been quite happy just dropping one.
Absolutely.
Picking up 4 is just a dagger in the heart.
It tells you the dice isn't far away.
On the backhand here, drawing into the head, and this might just deliver the second shot here for the Northland side at the moment.
Yeah, because it's about consistency, and the West End side have certainly delivered that consistency right throughout. And again, as we come to the end of this event, one must thank and applaud the people of Taranaki, the greenkeepers, the catering staff, catering at the clubs, hospitality, so many facets to make up these tournaments, and the whole business community. I was talking to Ian Morris before, and they were pleased with the number of bowlers who turned up at the New Plymouth Club for evening meals, etc. So to all of those people who assist in making these events such a great thing on the calendar, a big thank you and a big pat on the back to all of them.
Yeah, indeed, no doubt about that, Kevy, and to Grant Hassel and his organising committee here, and the huge number of volunteers that work tirelessly to bring this tournament to a successful conclusion every week. It's a real feather in their cap that they continue to do so and continue to attract players back because of that, year after year. All those residents of New Plymouth and surrounding areas that have let their house out to visiting bowlers throughout the year. It's a big part of the tournament because,
it certainly is.
You get bowlers and their families and supporters that need a place to stay for that week, and they've certainly always been well received as far as being able to get a nice accommodation somewhere in town and have it as their base for the week. So it's a massive community effort, and long may it continue. It's a great week, a great fortnight with the women to come as well.
Great bowl here though from the number 2, George Lydiard, draws right alongside. Well, of course, 2 it is, as Breyer indicates, but I'm sure we'll see that reach of the jack, touch of the jack through that port there, Phil. There's a waiting West End bowl sitting just in behind the head as we wind down to end 18.
Yeah, a little track there, isn't there, that the West End magnet will no doubt find.
Coming down to where the shot bowl is. It might just sit outside the target area, but had the weight to get the jack. Craig DeFaria, he won't be concerned about that. Talking to Paul Whiteman earlier on, his wife, very, very good player, won a New Zealand singles.
Yep.
And she remarked to me that, because we covered their morning game as well, he said, I'm quite happy that Anne's playing in a tournament today, so she's not, she's not watching.
Not watching the final.
Had a good attempt there from Paul Whiteman and got a touch on that bowl and in behind the head. We'll see whether Steve Walker can just make that slight line adjustment and get to the jack. And he has adjusted that line.
Yep.
More than likely, might have adjusted a wee bit too much as he's just going to slip under the jack. Craig DeFario pretty keen on it on the way through.
Just drop the weight a fraction, which we'd all love to do from time to time. Not as easy as it was just shown there, though.
No.
Paul Whiteman again, trying to add another one to the mix. Put a bit more heat on DeFaria. Can they crack them this time?
Well, they could be holding 3 shots there, and this could be 4.
Could be 4 in a minute.
Phil, if that sits inside that bowl, and they more than likely turn one out, and we'll just see what our marker indicates.
It'll be 3 in a measure, maybe.
Yeah, and just see whether Briar gives us any indication.
Not giving a hand away just yet, Briar.
No, she's not.
Get some consideration, like all good umpires should.
Yeah, not sort of. We're just over here, Briar.
Not going to put all the money on one horse just at the moment.
No.
I think we got 3 in a measure. Could be 4. But that man's on the mat.
Yeah, it is.
Craig DeFaria.
After that shot he played the last 10, well, nothing safe. He's out wider though this time.
Yeah, I don't know whether the release of that ball was quite as Craig would have
got
liked.
away,
Just got
bumpy,
away a little
didn't
bit. Yeah, it was. Not quite the smooth delivery we're used to seeing from the West End skip. And I think he was aware of that right from the moment it left the hand.
So Trevor Reader would certainly like to pick up a big number here.
If we can put another couple in here, it will give them some hope. It's not over until it's over, and he'll be thinking that all the way. This is coming in just under the jack.
One would think that's going to count. Now,
3. Yes.
3 there.
it is 3.
Briar
yeah.
indicating 3.
Briar indicating definitely 3.
Can we live with 3, Craig's thinking? Is 3 okay? 26-6, 26-9. Can we live with that? 7 to go. He won't be thinking that really. He'll be thinking, how do I cut this down or get rid of it altogether?
Or get the jack through that port, which is...
Shots there. Little forehand draw, the fractional weight. Just drag that kitty back a little bit. He could do what he did on the previous end.
Playing with
Better
weight.
Release. Better release. Got weight, got the
Close
track.
to the jack.
He's got the
He's
track.
close
He's got
to the
it.
jack. Got to
He's
the
got
centre.
it.
And bounces
stuck
back.
with it.
And there it
Oh.
is. 2 shots.
He's done it again. He's done it. And there goes the towel thrown in from Trevor Reader's side. I think they've had enough.
That's 6 shots in the last 2 ends when he was down.
Yep.
And just played there that magnificently. So here's Reid. I think he's saying this might be Sydney or the bush.
Yeah.
And
could well be.
Here's Reader.
Having a crack.
And it's nothing.
That'll
there
be.
it is. It's all over. It's all over. And John Niwa wins the sweep. There you go.
What was the number he picked?
He picked 18.
What did you have?
19.
Oh, gotcha, just by 1.
He did. So there it is, all over the 117th Taranaki Open Fours. And the winners once again, the West End side, Jordan Lynn, Dave Wilson, Steve Walker, Craig DeFaria. And they've defeated the Whangarei side of Steve Smith, Gary Lydiard, Paul Whiteman, and Trevor Reader. And really, Phil, just too strong, weren't they?
Too strong. And as hard as they tried, the Reader combination every time they had shots, as they did on that end. That really summed up the final, didn't it? Defaria just found a way to deliver the crucial bowl and blow at the right time, and he's done that in the last 3 or 4 ends. Just superb, absolutely pinpoint accurate bowls to take away any opportunity that the Northland side had of getting back into this game.
And none of them, Phil, were what I would call, had a bit of luck on them. They were all
clean.
They were all
Absolutely
clean at the target where they got the results. So there it is. There's the winners of the 117th Taranaki Open Fours. My thanks to, of course, Tamara and Melissa, the ladies who do all the work, and I just sit behind the microphone. They do a wonderful job. Thanks to Phil Quinney and John Newa, who have been with me this afternoon. And this is Kevin Hickland saying goodbye, travel safe, and our next event, of course, will be the Taranaki Women's Fours, brought to you next weekend here, live from New Plymouth.